Chapter 31 The Wheel of Life and Death. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boom! In Luo Xiu's room, a ball of fire rose up, and the two figures sitting cross-legged opposite each other had their clothes burned to ashes, and they were naked facing each other, once every 7 days. This was already the nth time, but this naked scene still made Luo Xiu's pretty face blush with embarrassment, and she quickly turned around and turned her back to Luo Xiu. The smooth and white skin made Luo Xiu a little distracted, but the surging and hot flame power in his body made him reluctantly close his eyes and start to practice pure yang gong to refine and absorb. The internal energy cultivation had already reached the saturation state of the body, and the excess internal energy gathered in the dantian position. When impacting the Qi-Si realm, these internal energy would erupt like a volcano to help him. After a while, Luo Xiu put on new clothes, and could clearly feel that her Huiyang Jumai had recovered a lot, and she no longer needed to rely on water-attributed pills and internal energy to suppress it. Looking at Luo Xiu, who was sitting cross-legged and practicing naked, Luo Xiu suddenly felt a strange feeling in her heart. She had never thought that her body would be seen naked by a 14-year-old boy countless times. She was even ashamed and angry at the beginning, but now, when he stared at her, her heartbeat would speed up and she felt shy. After my Huiyang Jumai is healed, it's time to go back, right? Luo Xiu said to herself suddenly. In the entire Qinyan city, only the master of the martial hall and the 5 elders knew her identity and origin. She had seen many geniuses and was also a genius. If it weren't for the shackles of Huiyang Jumai, she would have become a congenital martial artist long ago, but Luo Xiu still shocked her. In just half a year, he broke through from the 2nd level of body refining to the 9th level of body refining. If it was just this, it wouldn't be strange, because some geniuses in Xiaoyao's sect could do it. However, Luo Xiu did more than just that. He also practiced the pure yang gong. Pure yang gong and xiantian gong are of the same lineage. It is said that it was originally a secret book called Xiantian Pure Yang Gong, which is even rated as an 8th grade martial art. It is just that this technique is very difficult to practice. Even among the many geniuses of the major forces in Tianwu country, only a very small number of people have practiced it. However, once you practice it, your cultivation will be profound and unrivaled. This martial art is divided into 2 levels, one is pure yang and the other is xiantian. Pure yang gong is the foundation, which can be practiced to the 9th level of Qi Hai. Only by practicing xiantian gong can you enter xiantian. If you can combine xiantian and pure yang, it will be a complete 8th grade martial art. Although that level is still far away from Luo Xiu, at least he has this possibility. Moreover, Luo Xiu's talent in martial arts and body movements is also very good. He may not be unable to occupy a place when he enters Xiaoyao Gate one day. Who? Luo Xiu opened his mouth and exhaled turbid air, slowly opened his eyes, and just saw Luo Xiu staring at him, and the 4 eyes met. Luo Xiu woke up and quickly moved her eyes away, as if she was a little afraid to look at Luo Xiu. During these days of getting along, facing each other naked again and again, to be honest, Luo Xiu would inadvertently have some thoughts about her in his heart. But Luo Xiu was not a person who was good at expressing himself, and he could not figure out how Luo Xiu felt about him, so he could only hide those thoughts in his heart. After experiencing Luo Yusen's incident, Luo Xiu sometimes deliberately avoided emotional matters. Xiu, when my cultivation reaches the Qi-Si realm, I can completely cure your Huiyang Jumai in about 2 or 3 times. Luo Xiu suddenly said. The relationship between the two was obviously different from the beginning, and the names changed from Teacher Lu and Sister Lu to Xiu directly now, which was quite intimate. Are you going to break through the Qi-Si realm? For some reason, when Luo Xiu heard that she could cure Huiyang Jumai in 2 or 3 more times, she was not surprised, but a little reluctant. What's wrong with me? I've been suffering from Huiyang Jumai for many years. Now that it can be cured, I should be happy. At this moment, Luo Xiu was in a state of confusion. Is it because I can't get along with him like this after it's cured? Luo Xiu didn't know what she was thinking, but he saw that she was frowning. What's wrong, Xiu? Are you feeling uncomfortable? Luo Xiu stood up, walked closer to her, and stared at the life veins, but didn't find any problems. The life veins can see some diseases and injuries, but can't see through people's hearts. I'm not feeling uncomfortable, I'm probably tired. Lu Mengyao smiled far-fetchedly. Then you have a good rest. I will be in seclusion in the next few days to break through the Qi High realm. Luo Xiu said. After leaving Lu Menyao's residence, Luo Xiu came to a courtyard in Qingyun City. Since the incident with the Zhang family, Luo Xiu bought this courtyard and settled his parents and sister here. After all, he now has enough ability to let his relatives around him live a good life. Luo Xiu's parents and sister have no talent for martial arts, and they can only be ordinary people throughout their lives. For them, if they can live a life without worries about food and clothing and enjoy their old age, there is nothing to regret in life. Luo Xiu's room is located deep in the courtyard, which is his place of practice. There are 9 grades of martial arts in the world. Grades 1 to 3 are low-grade martial arts, and grade 4 martial arts have entered the middle ranks. On the 3rd floor of the Qingyun City Martial Hall Library, there are only 6 4th-grade martial arts, with 2 types of internal strength, martial arts, and body skills, which can be called the highest level of martial arts in Qingyun City. Because he won the championship in the martial arts competition, Luo Xiu could choose any 4th-grade martial arts practice. For him, if he wanted to practice martial arts, he would naturally practice the best, so he chose the 9 Thunder Swords and the Qimen Escape Technique. The 9 Thunder Swords are an upgraded version of the Thunder Sword Technique. Qimen Dun is the most precious martial art among all 4th-grade martial arts, and its value is comparable to that of pure Yang Kung Fu. It is defined as a 4th-grade body method because Qimen Dun is incomplete, but even with incomplete body skills, it can still be classified into the 4th rank, which shows that it is extraordinary. With the foundation of the Desheng Thunder Sword Technique, Luo Xiu practiced the 9 Thunder Swords very smoothly. It took him 7 days to practice the 9 Thunder Swords to the minor level. However, the meridian movement diagram of the Qimen Escape Technique is extremely complex and cumbersome. It took Luo Xiu more than half a month to visualize and deduce the life meridian diagram, and he was just getting started. However, Luo Xiu discovered that the entry-level Qimen Escape Technique, coupled with the microscopic skills, had already exceeded the level of perfection in both speed and subtlety. This movement technique contains some kind of mystery. It can burst out with astonishing speed and move short distances in an instant. Regarding the breakthrough of Qi Si realm, Luo Xiu is not in a hurry. He has a Qi condensation pill and can break through at any time. During this period, the master of the martial palace had personally given him guidance on his practice, telling him that before breaking through to the Qi Si realm, he should lay as solid a foundation as possible. A solid foundation would affect his future martial arts achievements. Unknowingly, a month passed in a blink of an eye. Luo Xiu had been living in seclusion, spending almost all his time practicing the 9 Thunder Swords and the Qimen Escape Technique. Practicing in this state of selflessness, Luo Xiu achieved excellent results. Coupled with the effect of the 2nd-level Spirit Gathering Formation, even without taking the Qi Condensing Pill, his cultivation level was infinitely close to that of the Qi Si realm. The 9 Thunder Swords are completed, and the Qimen Escape Technique is completed. Moreover, Luo Xiu also completed and supplemented the incomplete part of Qimen Body Escape Technique through the deduction of the life vein diagram. It's time to attack the Qi Si realm. On this day, Luo Xiu came to a forest outside Qingyun City. It was relatively close to the city, so there were no wild beasts or monsters, and he didn't have to worry about anyone disturbing his practice. The 2nd-level Spirit Gathering Formation device was opened, and the energy of heaven and earth from all directions began to gather rapidly. Luo Xiu took out the Qi Condensation Pill and put it into his mouth, and the powerful and pure medicinal power suddenly exploded in his body. Buzz! 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 His body shone brightly, and more inner energy condensed out, constantly gathering in the dantian of his lower abdomen. In his consciousness, the empty dantian began to tremble slightly. With the continuous impact of waves of internal energy, the trembling feeling in the dantian began to become more and more obvious and intense. Pure Yang Qi, all meridians are connected, open it for me. Luo Xiu's tongue exploded with thunder, he exhaled and made a sound, operating the pure Yang Kung Fu to the extreme. The skin, flesh, muscles, bones, 5 internal organs, bone marrow, and the internal energy contained in the qi and blood seemed to turn into waves and rivers, constantly impacting the dantian. Boom! The invisible barrier in the dantian in the body seemed to be suddenly broken open, and a massive amount of inner energy seemed to have opened a gap, pouring into the dantian like a flood. An extremely fulfilling feeling came from his lower abdomen, which lifted Luo Xiu's spirit. Breaking open dantian is equivalent to completing the first step of breakthrough. All the inner qi in the body gathers in the dantian, like a lake and ocean. The inner qi emits light and illuminates the darkness in the dantian. This is the sea of qi. Based on the dantian, the internal qi can flow everywhere through the meridians and acupoints of the whole body. Both the efficiency of utilization and the degree of purity are far better than before. The inner energy movement of a body-refining warrior is called Little Zhoutian. Only by opening up the sea of qi and the movement of qi can the great Zhoutian be formed. However, if you want to break through the sea of qi realm, it is not enough to just open the dantian. You also need to condense and compress the inner qi to form true qi. What's this? Luo Xiu suddenly felt a violent throbbing coming from his dantian. Under his perception, the polar energy of life and death was constantly rotating in the center of his dantian, showing black and white, like a Tai Chi diagram or a rotating millstone. In the process of this rotation, the energy of the two poles of life and death is continuously condensed and compressed at an extremely fast speed. Under normal circumstances, the process of condensing true energy cannot be accomplished in a short time. Luo Xiu estimated that it would take at least a day or two for all the internal energy to be condensed and compressed in the dantian and transformed into more powerful true energy. However, in this crazy rotating state, the two poles of life and death have been compressed and condensed to the extreme in less than a few breaths. In the center of the dantian, a wheel with white on the left and black on the right rotates, and wisps of mist spread from the wheel, filling the dantian, forming a sea of qi. These mist-like gases are true qi. Cultivation in the qi realm is the process of condensing the true qi. The first to third levels of true qi are in the mist state, the fourth to sixth levels of true qi are in the liquid state, more condensed and more powerful, and the seventh to ninth levels of true qi are condensed into solid substance. Soldiers are invincible. It's so easy to break through to the qi realm. Luo Xiu looked surprised. He stretched out his hand and pointed in the air, and an invisible energy spurted out from his fingers, shaking open the door a few meters away. Immediately afterwards, his body moved suddenly and disappeared directly from the place. The next moment, he appeared outside the house. Using true energy to perform movement techniques, the speed is as fast as ghosts. It is indeed a movement technique that, even though it is incomplete, can be classified as a fourth-grade movement. At this moment, Luo Xiu could clearly feel that he was several times stronger than before. At the same time, a feeling like enlightenment came from the life and death pearl, letting him know that the black and white will condensed in his dantian qi was called the wheel of life and death. This is not a martial skill or a technique, but a mark derived from the law of life and death. In the dantian, the wheels of life and death rotate, and all the mysteries of the laws of life and death circulate in the mind. Through this realization, through the wheels of life and death, Luo Xiu discovered that some things he had not understood about the martial arts he practiced suddenly became clear. It seems that the secret can be grasped easily, because the avenue of life and death is one of the most supreme laws in the world. Even if Luo Xiu can only comprehend a trivial trace of it, his level is extremely high, and the level of martial arts he practices is much lower. With high level from a perspective, low-level things are naturally clearer. Chapter 32 Nye Xiaodie. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Amazing. Luo Xiu couldn't help but exclaimed. The appearance of the wheel of life and death could be said to have improved his strength in all aspects. The first is the aspect of cultivation. By stimulating the wheels of life and death, Luo Xiu can absorb the vitality of heaven and earth and the essence of all things more efficiently. The effect is almost comparable to the second-level spirit-gathering array device. If coupled with the increase of the second-level spirit-gathering formation device, his cultivation speed can be increased by 4 times, reaching an astonishing 16 times. With such a training speed, even if he is practicing rubbish techniques, his cultivation level will definitely improve quickly. not to mention that the pure yang kung fu he practices is not bad at all. The second is martial arts and body skills. Now he can clearly see the essence and mystery. He believes that he can practice any fourth-grade martial arts to perfection in the shortest time. With a little more effort, he can practice to perfection. None of it is a problem. Bang! 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 At this moment, a knock on the door came from outside, which made Luo Xiu wake up from his cultivation state. He couldn't help but frown, because when a warrior is practicing, he is most afraid of being disturbed. With a flick of his finger, a burst of energy shot out of the air, the door opened, and an old man stood respectfully outside. Master Luo, the master of the palace wants you to go to the martial palace. The old man said. This old man Luo Xiu is no stranger, he is an old servant of the lord of the martial palace. Hearing that it was the lord of the martial palace looking for him, Luo Xiu stood up slowly. I wonder why the lord of the palace is looking for me. Luo Xiu still respects the master of the martial palace. Going back to the master of the new Stone City martial palace came to Qingyun City to visit the master. He brought a talented girl to challenge the elite masters in the palace. Several people have been defeated by him. The master of the palace asked you to go there, probably because of this. Something, said the old servant. Hearing this, Luo Xiu frowned. New Stone City is another city adjacent to Qingyun City. Every city in Yunlong County has a martial arts hall founded by Xiaoyao sect. Although they select and train talents for Xiaoyao sect, in fact there is a competitive relationship between them, and it is common to visit and challenge each other. Nowadays, among all the students in the Qingyun City Martial Hall, Luo Xiu ranks first. Naturally, he has the obligation to accept the challenges from the martial arts masters in other cities and maintain the reputation of the Qingyun Martial Hall. At the martial arts arena of Qingyun Martial Palace, many people gathered at the moment. In the spectator seats on the attic, the master of Qingyun Palace sat with a slightly fat middle-aged man, who was the master of Xinshi Palace. On the competition stage, two young people were fighting. On one side was Feng Xianzhu of Qingyun Martial Hall, and his opponent was a beautiful girl in red. Master Qingyun Palace, I heard that your Qingyun Martial Palace has produced a genius who has mastered pure yang kung fu. I wonder if you dare to make a bet with me. Palace Master Xinshi said suddenly with a smile. There are a total of 18 cities in Yunlong County. The masters of the martial palaces in each major city often bring outstanding talents to challenge each other. Sometimes it is normal to make some bets. How do you want to bet, Master Xinshi Palace? Master Qingyun Palace smiled. How about I bet you on the azure bracelet you won from me 3 years ago? The new Stone Hall Master said with a squinted smile. Snapped. At this moment, a loud slap suddenly came from the competition stage. Feng Xianzhu fell from the stage, a slap mark appeared on his face, his eyes almost burst into flames, he was shocked and angry. Many martial arts students watching the battle in the audience were in an uproar, and they suddenly became angry. It's too much. You hit someone without slapping someone in the face. Since you won, why do you still humiliate others like this? You are so beautiful, but so cruel and ruthless. Are you bullying anyone in my Qingyun Martial Palace? Many people shouted angrily in the audience. I saw a girl in red standing proudly on the competition stage. She glanced at everyone in the audience with mockery in her eyes and sneered, is there no master in Qingyun Martial Hall? Even a little girl like me can't beat her. What a bunch of rubbish. As soon as these words came out, many martial arts students were furious, but they were speechless. In the attic, the face of Qingyun Palace Master also darkened. The other party slapped him in the face in public on the competition stage, which made him, the Palace Master, a little embarrassed. Don't be angry, Master Qingyun. Children are just ignorant. Master Xinshi, stroking his hair and beard, said with a smile. Humph. The master of Qingyun Palace snorted coldly, you dare to bring people to our Qingyun city to challenge you, just because you are relying on this genius who claims to be a Qi warrior at the age of 15. Master Qingyun Palace also knew a thing or two about the affairs of the new Stone City Martial Hall. He knew that a talented girl named Xiaodie came out of New Stone City, and she was the girl in red on the competition stage. Since the end of the martial arts competition ceremony, Su Qiusheng and Han Shan have been in seclusion and are trying their best to attack the Qi Si realm. Currently, only Feng Xianzhu is the strongest, but he is no match for Xiaodie. I wonder if Luo Xiu can be Xiaodie's opponent. Lord Qinyan frowned, not knowing that Luo Xiu had become a Qihai warrior. Luo Xiu is here. It's really Luo Xiu. Luo Xiu is the #1 master in our Qinyan martial hall. He can definitely defeat this woman. Suddenly, the crowd near the competition stage was in an uproar, and everyone's eyes were fixed on a young man in black walking towards him with a long sword on his back. The #1 master. I wonder if you can block one of my moves. The girl in red on the stage said with disdain. Hearing these arrogant words, Luo Xiu frowned and looked towards the competition stage. He could see the lifeline of the girl in red. Qihai warrior. No wonder he is so arrogant. Based on the breath of life veins, Luo Xiu determined that the girl in red's cultivation level was at the first level of the Qi Si. She should be the same as himself and had just broken through to the Qi Si not long ago. However, Luo Xiu ignored the girl in red and first saluted the master of Qinyan Palace on the attic. The master of Qinyan Palace nodded and said in a deep voice, Luo Xiu, this person on the stage is Xiaodie, a talented girl from the New Stone City Martial Palace. She just became a Qihai warrior not long ago. Today she comes to our Qinyan Martial Palace to challenge you. Do you have the courage to do so? Grasp. In an instant, everyone's eyes focused on Luo Xiu again. Many students in Qinyan Martial Hall knew very well that Luo Xiu was the #1 master. If even he lost, unless Su Qiusheng and Han Shan one of them broke through and successfully escaped, otherwise Qinyan Martial Palace would have lost all face today. Yes. Luo Xiu slowly raised his head, with a confident smile on his face. The infuriating fluctuations of the Qi Si warrior spread out from his body, making many nearby martial arts students feel a pressure. Luo Xiu broke through the Qi Si realm. He is worthy of being the #1 genius in the competition. Luo Xiu will definitely be able to defeat this Xiaodie. Luo Xiu. Luo Xiu. Luo Xiu. Many students in Qinyan Martial Hall instantly became excited, and hundreds of people chanted his name. After all, this battle is related to the face of Qinyan Martial Palace. Luo Xiu's breakthrough to the realm of Qi Si has undoubtedly given everyone hope, and his popularity has risen to the extreme. Sensing the true energy fluctuations on Luo Xiu's body, the master of Qinyan Palace couldn't help but move slightly. He originally thought that it would take at least another month or two for Luo Xiu to break through the Qi Si realm. Master Xincher, did you just say you wanted to bet with me? Master Qinyan looked at the Master Xincher next to him. The slightly fat master of the New Stone Palace looked at Luo Xiu and said secretly, is this the genius who has mastered pure Yang Kung Fu? He has actually broken through to the Qi Si realm. The New Stone Palace master pondered for a moment. It was obvious that Luo Xiu's breakthrough made him feel a little unsure. What? New Stone Palace master doesn't dare to gamble anymore. Qinyan Palace master said in a playful tone. He is also at the first level of Qi Hai. He may not be Xiaodie's opponent. The New Stone Hall master curled his lips and said, of course I have to bet. If Xiaodie wins, you can give me the blue crystal bracelet. What if Luo Xiu wins? Master Qinyan Palace smiled, that blue crystal bracelet is a third-level formation treasure. Hearing this, the New Stone Palace master's face twitched. The blue crystal bracelet was originally his treasure and was lost to the Qinyan Palace master 3 years ago. How could Xiaodie lose? If this Luo Xiu of your Qinyan Martial Hall can really win, I will give you a bottle of Xiantian pill. Xiantian Dan is a third-level elixir used by Xiantian martial artists to improve their cultivation. There are 6 pills in a bottle, and its value is comparable to that of third-level array treasures. Okay. Master Qinyan Palace laughed loudly. Luo Xiu became a Qi Si warrior, which undoubtedly made him full of confidence. Luo Xiu, this battle is related to the face of our Qingyun martial palace, you must go all out. He looked at Luo Xiu and said. Yes. Luo Xiu nodded, jumped up, and landed on the competition stage. Xiaodie was dressed in red, looking at Luo Xiu with arrogance, and said disdainfully, I didn't expect that among the waste in Qingyun Martial Hall, there are actually Qi warriors. She has attracted much attention since she entered the new stone martial hall at the age of 10. She has always been praised by all the stars and thinks highly of herself. Even though she is also a Qi warrior, she has never put Luo Xiu in her eyes. Luo Xiu's face was expressionless. Although Xiaodie was beautiful, this kind of posture was the type of person he hated the most. Xiaodie stretched out her jade hand, and a spear appeared in her hand. She said proudly, there are not many people who can let me use the spear. Even if you lose, you can be proud of yourself. As she spoke, she moved and stabbed Luo Xiu with her spear, her true energy shining brightly. However, to everyone's surprise, Luo Xiu did not draw his sword, but took strange steps. Everyone felt that their eyes were blurred. Luo Xiu had already appeared in front of Xiaodie and slapped him with his palm. Go! What a speed! Xiaodie's pretty face changed color slightly, and she quickly raised the spear in her hand to block Luo Xiu's palm. Bang! A low sound came out, and in everyone's shocked eyes, Xiaodie was knocked back several steps by Luo Xiu's palm. You dare to come to my Qingyun martial palace and act wild with such little strength. You are not even worthy of letting me give up my sword. Luo Xiu said with a sneer. Everyone in the audience was stunned. No one expected that Luo Xiu, who had been silent all this time, would suddenly say such words. However, everyone felt that Luo Xiu's words were very relieving, because before he could come, Xiaodie treated him like a piece of trash, which made everyone hold back a breath of bad breath. That's good. Aren't you just a Qi warrior? What's so great about him? Well done, Luo Xiu. Let this little girl know how powerful our Qingyun Martial Hall's #1 master is. You are looking for death. Xiaodie's pretty face turned angry. As a proud daughter of heaven, no one has ever dared to look down on her like this. Wind-chasing gun, that the body technique unfolded, a red robe was like a floating silhouette, the spear shone with light, and with the blessing of true energy, it brought up a fierce wind, and stabbed Luo Xiu's vital points 3 times in a row. Although her marksmanship was sharp, Luo Xiu's body skills were erratic. Qi condensed between her palms and she suddenly punched out. Dragon Tiger Fist. Chang! The fist and the gun head collided, and sparks flew everywhere. With the blessing of true energy, Qi realm warriors can physically resist swords, which makes many body-refining realm students in the audience envious. What a powerful energy! The ferocious energy was transmitted through the spear, making Xiaodie feel his hands and mouth numb, his body retreated, and he almost lost his grip on the spear. With a slight chill on her pretty face, Xiaodie never expected that she would suffer a loss at the hands of Luo Xiu in 2 consecutive rounds. Above the attic, the smile on the face of the new Stone Palace Master also froze in an instant, while the Qingyun Palace Master had a smile on his face and almost burst into laughter in his heart. On the competition stage, Xiaodie shot one after another, but no matter how exquisite the marksmanship she used, she could not even touch the corner of Luo Xiu's clothes, and her true energy was not as good as Luo Xiu's, so she was knocked back time and time again. The face of the new stone hall master became more and more gloomy. Could it be that he was going to lose to the Qingyun Hall Master again this time? Chapter 33. I'm waiting for you at Xiaoyaomen, 1 out of 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 33. I'm waiting for you at Xiaoyaomen. Pa! Bang! On the competition stage, Xiaodie was knocked back every time she fought with Luo Xiu, and was forced to the edge of the competition stage. The proud daughter of heaven, why don't you admit defeat? Luo Xiu sneered. You bastard. Xiaodie looked sullen, and anyone could tell that Luo Xiu was taunting her. Snapped! Luo Xiu struck out with a palm, and the powerful energy was transmitted to Xiaodie through the spear. Her delicate body trembled, her feet were unsteady, and she fell from the competition platform. Okay, on the attic, Master Qingyun Hall laughed loudly. Master Xincher Hall, thank you very much for the innate elixir. Several elders of the martial hall behind him also smiled. Luo Xiu won and finally saved the face of Qingyun Martial Hall. Humph, I really want to congratulate you, Qingyun Martial Hall. You have produced a great genius. If you can be absorbed by the mountain sect, the master of Qingyun Hall will definitely receive a good reward. The new stone palace master curled his lips with some jealousy, turned over his hand and took out a jade bottle and put it on the table. I am willing to admit defeat, this is the innate elixir, farewell. Standing up, Master Xincher strode away. As soon as he saw the smiling face of Master Qingyun, he became furious. Luo Xiu, I remember you, just wait for me. Sooner or later, I will defeat you. Xiaodie said coldly, and followed the new stone hall master away. Luo Xiu didn't take Xiaodie's words seriously at all. He didn't even use 1/10 of his strength. Xiaodie was no match for him, and the gap between him and him would only get bigger in the future. The wheels of life and death rotated in the Dantian, and the mystery of the law of life and death circulated in his heart every moment, making him seem to see a broad road leading to the peak of martial arts. It's amazing. In just over a month, Luo Xiu is already a Qihai warrior. He is only 14 years old. Xiaodie only cultivated the Qi Si at the age of 15, but she is so arrogant. Compared with Luo Xiu, who is she? Master Xincher and Xiaodie have left, but many students in Qingyun Martial Hall are still talking about this matter, the main hall of Qingyun Martial Palace. Luo Xiu, you are only 14 years old and have broken through the Qi Si realm. Even in Xiaoyao sect, there are not many people who can achieve this step. This time you defeated Xiaodie of the New Stone Martial Palace and protected the face and reputation of our Qingyun Martial Palace. This blue crystal bracelet is yours. The master of Qingyun Palace raised his hand and threw it, and a bracelet that looked like it was carved from blue crystal flew towards Luo Xiu. Luo Xiu reached out and grabbed it, feeling that the bracelet was very beautiful, but what use would a grown man like him have for such a beautiful bracelet? Luo Xiu, don't underestimate this bracelet. This is a treasure refined by a third-level array master. As long as it is activated with true energy, it can form a defensive shield that cannot be broken by martial arts masters below the 7th level of innateness. Qingyun the palace master said with a smile. So powerful. Luo Xiu looked surprised, for the master of Qingyun Palace who is half-stepping into god training, treasures like the blue crystal bracelet are basically useless to him, but for a warrior like Luo Xiu who has just entered the Qi Si realm, it is a rare protective treasure. Luo Xiu, since you have broken through to the Qi Si realm, I should tell you some things. The master of Qingyun Palace said sternly, in all major martial arts halls in Yunlong County, anyone under the age of 18 who has reached the realm of Qihai will be eligible to participate in the entrance examination. At that time, all martial artists who meet the conditions in the martial arts halls in the 18 cities will participate, but only 3 people can pass the examination and become outer disciples. Originally, I planned to let you take the entrance exam next year, so that you can have more time to improve your cultivation and have a greater chance of passing. However, since you have already broken through to the Qi Si realm in advance, do you want to take the exam? It's up to you to decide. When will the entrance examination be held? Luo Xiu couldn't help but ask. On the 8th day of the lunar month in 3 months. Master Qingyun Palace said, as far as I know, some of the people who participated in the assessment this year have reached the 2nd or even 3rd level of Qi Si. The time left for you is too short. It's hard to beat them. Then if you don't pass the assessment this year, can you still take the assessment next year? Luo Xiu asked again. Of course, as long as you are no more than 18 years old, you have 4 chances. The master of Qingyun Palace said with a smile. In this case, I will try it this year. Maybe I will succeed in 1 try. Luo Xiu said. Okay. I also hope you can succeed in the first try. Master Qingyun Palace said with a smile, practice hard and I will send someone to notify you when the time comes. Xiaoyao sect also has reward rules for the masters of martial halls in major cities. Geniuses who come out of major martial arts halls join Xiaoyao sect. The more brilliant their performance is, the higher their achievements will be. The masters of martial halls who were originally born as geniuses will get more rewards. Good reward. That's why the master of Qingyun Palace looked at Luo Xiu differently and had high hopes for him. After self-cultivation to break through the Qi-Si realm, Luo Xiu was able to absorb more fire power from Lu Menyao's Huiyang Absolute Vein. After 2 times, Lu Menyao's Huiyang Jumai was completely cured, and she would never have the heart-burning pain every 7 days in the future. Luo Xiu, thank you. After facing each other naked, both of them put on clothes. Lu Mengyao felt that her heart suddenly became very confused. You're welcome. Luo Xiu smiled. In fact, he benefited a lot from Lu Menyao's treatment of the Huiyang Jumai. Not only could he improve his cultivation, he could also master the power of the flame attribute. Now that Huiyang Jumai has been cured, Luo Xiu couldn't help but think of scenes of the two naked facing each other again and again, and he couldn't help but sigh in his heart. For a moment, the two of them were relatively silent. Lu Mengyao didn't dare to look into Luo Xiu's eyes. What she had experienced in the past few months was unforgettable. Luo Xiu, Lu Mengyao suddenly spoke, breaking the silence, I want to leave. Go. Where to go? Luo Xiu frowned. Xiaoyaomen. Hearing this, Luo Xiu was not too surprised. He had already guessed that Lu Menyao's identity was not simple, because the master of the martial hall and the elders were very polite to her. I will take the entrance examination in 2 months, and I will also go to Xiaoyaomen at that time. We will meet again. Luo Xiu said with a smile. She didn't tell Lu Menyao's specific identity, and Luo Xiu didn't ask. Turning his palm, Luo Xiu placed the azure bracelet on the table in front of the two of them. This bracelet can be regarded as a gift for us. We should meet again in the future. 3 days later, someone sent a letter to Luo Xiu's home. There was only a simple sentence on the letter, Luo Xiu, I'm waiting for you at Xiaoyaomen. Luo Xiu took a deep breath, folded the letter and put it in his arms, I will go find you. On this day, Luo Xiu left Qingyun City and headed to Baki Mountain. Before the entrance examination, he planned to improve his strength as much as possible. However, when he just walked out of Qingyun City, there were 3 figures quietly following him. Many hunter teams were heading to Baki Mountain, so Luo Xiu didn't pay attention. This person is Luo Xiu. I heard that he just broke through the Qi-Si realm not long ago. It's just 1 level of Qi high. Killing him is like butchering a dog. Master asking us 3 brothers to kill him is a bit of a fuss. Don't take it lightly. This matter must be done cleanly and neatly. Don't let Master Qingyun get any leverage. Don't worry, senior brother, we understand. In the dense jungle, Luo Xiu's figure shuttled back and forth, like a fleeting shadow. The Qimen escape technique was already perfected, although he has never experienced martial arts above the 5th level. For Luo Xiu now, there is basically no mystery in the 4th level martial arts in his eyes, and he can easily master the essence of it. In addition to the mastery of the Qimen escape technique, Luo Xiu has mastered the 9 thunder swords to a perfect level. With a body as light as a swallow, Luo Xiu could even sometimes step in the air and move sideways, staying in the air for a short time. Even some innate martial arts masters may not be able to achieve this level of movement. The master of the martial palace can fly in the air. I don't know when I will be able to reach that state. Luo Xiu was looking forward to it. With his current strength, the 1st level monsters no longer pose any threat and can be killed easily. Therefore, after entering the Baki Mountain, he went directly into the deep hinterland, intending to find the 2nd level monsters to train himself. There are very few hunter teams entering the deep hinterland. Even some teams led by Qihai warriors mostly linger on the border between the periphery and the depths. Luo Xiu spread his life perception and frowned suddenly, because in his perception, there were 3 auras belonging to human warriors, which were constantly approaching his location. after a moment, a thin young man appeared in Luo Xiu's sight. He seemed to be about 20 years old. From the aura emitted through the life veins, Luo Xiu probably judged that this person's cultivation level should be above the 5th level of Qi. The true energy condenses into a liquid state in the Dantian. Immediately afterwards, 2 more figures appeared, also young people in their 20s. Huh! The 3 young people were slightly startled when they saw Luo Xiu standing on a big branch in front of them. "Why do you 3 keep following me?" Luo Xiu asked in a deep voice. He felt a dangerous aura from these 3 people. The leading young man was wearing a white robe, and his aura was the most powerful. He was probably at least the 7th level of the Qi. The other 2 were weaker, but they also had the cultivation level of about the 5th level of the Qi. These 3 Qihai warriors are also masters who can dominate in Qingyun City. I didn't expect you to be able to discover that we were following you, but you are a dead person, so there is no need to know too much. A long sword with a cold light appeared in the hand of the young man in white robe. The other 2 people also showed their weapons, one holding a sword and the other holding a knife. Luo Xiu's eyes widened. It was obvious that these 3 people were here to kill him. The last time someone led by Chen who was hunted down was by the Zhang family. So who was instructing these 3 people? Kill. The 2 young men with Qi level 5 cultivation deployed their body skills and quickly rushed towards Luo Xiu. The leading young man in white robe did not take action, with a sneer on his lips. It seemed that for him, a young man with a strong temper was not worthy of his own action. In the blink of an eye, the 2 of them had rushed in front of Luo Xiu, their swords flashing with cold light and murderous intent. Chang! The shadow sword behind Luo Xiu suddenly came out of its sheath, bringing out a sharp sword light. Suffer death! The 2 young men had sarcastic expressions on their faces. For them, killing a Qi-high 1st level was as easy as drinking water. Chang! Chang! There was a sound of swords clashing, and the light of true energy flashed. The 2 youths at the 5th level of the Sea of Qi only felt a powerful force of energy coming. So strong Qi. Is this kid really the 1st level of Qi-high? There was a look of surprise on the faces of the 2 people. Thundering 9 swords! Luo Xiu shook the shadow sword in his hand, and the bright and dazzling sword light enveloped the 2 people in front of him. Puff! A flash of blood suddenly appeared, and the 2 young men who joined forces to besiege Luo Xiu, one of them's eyes widened, his fragile throat was cut open by the sword, blood spurted out, and he was killed on the spot. What? Perfect swordsmanship! Another young man's face suddenly changed. He knew that the 9 thunder swords was a 4th level swordsmanship, but when he used it from Luo Xiu's hand, he instantly killed a 5th level Qihai sword. He obviously practiced the 9 thunder swords. Reached the state of consummation. The 4th level martial arts is perfect, and its power is comparable to that of the 5th level martial arts. Luo Xiu didn't hold anything back at all, because the young man in white robe who had not yet taken action made him smell the danger. On the black sword, the 2 poles of life and death emitted black light, and a cold and terrifying breath of death spread with Luo Xiu as the center. Qi! Another flash of sword light was like a black lightning piercing the air, and another young man at the 5th level of Qi flew backwards, with a wound on his heart and blood gushing out. Luo Xiu, on the other hand, stood motionless from the beginning to the end, and with a single movement of his hand, he spattered 2 Qi 5th level masters with blood on the spot. Good boy, I didn't expect that you would have such strength when you first entered the 1st level of the Qi. But you must die today. The white-robed young man also didn't expect that his 2 junior brothers would be killed in a single encounter. It was too late for him to save him. Crack! 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 He stepped out with his body technique and flew towards Luo Xiu, his body's true energy shimmering like substance. Luo Xiu's pupils shrank, and he was able to condense the true energy to a state close to its essence. At least only masters at the 7th level of the Qi could do it. He didn't know who he was that would send a master of this level to kill him. Die! The young man in white robe shouted angrily, and the long sword in his hand revealed the real sword light and attacked Luo Xiu. Chang! Chang! Chang. In the blink of an eye, the two fought for several rounds, and Luo Xiu discovered that the opponent's movement technique was very exquisite, not much worse than his Chiman escape movement technique. Moreover, this person's cultivation level has reached the 7th level of Qi Si, and his true Qi is powerful and condensed. Every time he fights, his Qi and blood are shaken. The martial arts he practiced should be at the lowest level of the 5th grade, and he has practiced them to the state of Deshang, which is close to perfection. During the fight, Luo Xiu also evaluated the opponent's strength based on the opponent's martial arts skills and true energy. The 5th level martial arts is close to perfection. With such strength, even in the 7th level of Qi Si, he is definitely the top master. In just a short moment, Luo Xiu was in danger and was completely suppressed and beaten by the young man in white robe. Chapter 34 Light and Dark Sensing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chang. Sparks flew everywhere, and a powerful counterattack made Luo Xiu take a few steps back. The opponent's internal strength is at least the 5th level, and coupled with the suppression of his cultivation, Luo Xiu is no match for him. Moreover, the swordsmanship of this young man in white robe is also very good. It is close to perfection and Luo Xiu has no chance to hurt him. Suffer death. Serious Xiaoya. A whistle came from the mouth of the white-robed young man, and the brilliant sword light struck, making Luo Xiu feel like a wolf looking up to the sky and howling. Obviously, what the white-robed young man was performing was a 5th grade or above sword technique. Thunder 9 swords. Luo Xiu resisted with all his strength, his sword was reaching its limit, and ripples appeared in the air. The two swords collided, Luo Xiu's figure quickly retreated, the tiger's mouth was torn open by the shock, and blood flowed out. Huh! You can actually resist my heavenly wolf Xiaoya. The white-robed young man frowned, very dissatisfied that his sword only cracked Luo Xiu's tiger's mouth. He is a warrior at the 7th level of Qi Si, and his true energy is close to the essence. Tianlang Xiaoya is even a 5th level martial artist. Many warriors in the same realm are no match for him. If you don't die, you might be able to occupy a place in Xiaoyao sect someday. Unfortunately, you will die in my hands. I can only blame you for offending someone you shouldn't have offended. The white-robed young man raised his sword in his hand and killed again. Come. Boom. Luo Xiu circulated his true energy to the extreme, and the wheels of life and death in his dantian rotated rapidly, and black flames rose on the surface of his body. The power of fire. How is this possible? The young man in white robe saw the black flames appearing on Luo Xiu's body, and his expression suddenly changed. Thunder 9 swords. At this moment, Luo Xiu used the black flame of death to perform his sword technique. The sword energy roared and the eerie breath of death spread. Chang. The swords in the hands of the two collided again. This time Luo Xiu was not knocked back. With the power of the black flame of death, he resisted the impact of the opponent's true energy. The white-robed young man's eyes showed a look of shock. The Qi Si realm actually masters the power of attributes. But he quickly calmed down, and a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth again. Even if you have mastered the power of attributes, but your cultivation level is too low, you will still die in my hands. Dragon Tiger Fist. Luo Xiu clenched his fist with his left hand and performed the fierce tiger style of Dragon Tiger Fist. The black flames of death condensed and blasted towards the face of the white-robed young man. Open Mountain Palm. The white-robed young man's mouth showed disdain, and he casually used a 4th-level palm technique. The true energy was condensed and he wanted to smash Luo Xiu's fist. Bang! The fists and palms collided. Luo Xiu's body was shaken and he retreated continuously, but he sneered in his heart. The life veins in the opponent's left hand had been damaged by him. Ah! The young man in white robe screamed, his face turned pale with pain, and there were severe pains in his left hand. His muscles and bones were broken, and a hot breath continued to burn his flesh and blood, making the pain unbearable. How is this possible? Even if he has mastered the power of attributes, his Qi is not as strong as mine. I clearly knocked him back. Why did I get hurt instead? The young man in white robe can't figure out what is going on. However, Luo Xiu would not give him any chance to think. The shadow sword was like black lightning, killing his opponent. The young man in white robe quickly swung his sword to resist, but because his left hand was injured and could not be used, his strength was affected. Although he was not suppressed by Luo Xiu, it was almost impossible to kill Luo Xiu. Tamrin style, Luo Xiu caught a slight flaw in the opponent and once again condensed the black flames of death with his left hand, blasting towards the white-robed young man. Damn bastard, the young man in white robe was furious. His left hand was injured and he could not resist at all. The sword in his hand was restrained by Luo Xiu. He could only retreat to avoid Luo Xiu's punch, but as soon as he retreated, Luo Xiu took the advantage. It's over, a cold light flashed in Luo Xiu's eyes, and the black shadow sword flashed past, and with a puff, it cut the white-robed young man's wrist, causing blood to splatter. Ah! The young man in white robe screamed again. The long sword in his hand fell off, and a sharp sword light touched his forehead. At this moment, the young man in white robe felt like he had fallen into an ice cave, thinking that he, a majestic warrior at the 7th level of the Qi Si, actually lost to a guy who had just entered the 1st level of the Qi Si. This made him feel shocked and angry. However, the threat of death was so close that he did not dare to act rashly. "Who asked you to kill me?" Luo Xiu asked coldly. "I tell you, will you let me go?" The young man in white robe stared at Luo Xiu. "If you promise not to kill me, I will tell you. You are not qualified to negotiate terms with me." Luo Xiu shouted coldly. The tip of the sword moved forward half an inch and pierced the skin between the eyebrows of the white-robed young man, causing blood to seep out. The stinging pain between his eyebrows made the white-robed young man's expression change drastically. If he didn't tell him, he was sure Luo Xiu would kill him. Thinking of this, he took a deep breath and said, "The 3 of us brothers came to Qingyun City to kill you on the orders of our master. My master is Zhang Luoyang, the deacon of Xiaoyao sect." Zhang Luoyang. Luo Xiu's eyes flashed. The ancestor of the Zhang family is Zhang Luoyang, the deacon of Xiaoyao sect. Obviously, Zhang Luoyang had a grudge against him because the Zhang family advocated Xiao Xiong's death. He did not dare to offend the master of Qingyun Palace, so he sent his disciples to Qingyun City to look for opportunities to get rid of him. "I've already told you, you." The young man in white robe hoped that Luo Xiu could let him live. However, before he could say anything for mercy, his eyebrows were instantly pierced by the shadow sword, and he lost all breath and fell to the ground. Luo Xiu's face was very cold. The 3 young senior brothers in white robes came to kill him, but they failed to kill him. Instead, they hoped that he would be merciful. How could such a good thing happen in the world? For Luo Xiu, he has his own principles of action. He will not take the initiative to provoke others, nor will he kill innocent people at will. But if someone wants to kill him, he will show no mercy and will not care about your identity. Returning the sword to its sheath, Luo Xiu began to collect the treasures from these 3 people, so that he could become a disciple of Zhang Luoyang, the deacon of the outer sect. These 3 people were obviously outer disciples of the Xiaoyao sect. Every year, a group of Qihai warriors who are no more than 18 years old appear in the major martial arts halls in Yunlong County, but only 3 people can get the quota to enter the outer sect. This shows that those who can be absorbed by Xiaoyao sect are all worthy of the title of 10,000s. Unparalleled genius. However, there are high and low levels among geniuses. For example, the 2 5th-level Qi Sis who were killed by Luo Xiu before were only average in strength. But this young man in white robe, if it were not for the means of damaging the life veins and the black flame of death, Luo Xiu would show absolutely cannot be his opponent. On these 3 people, Luo Xiu found 3 identity tokens of outer disciples. In addition, these 3 people also had storage devices, 2 wrist guards, a ring, and many vitality stones in them. There are elixirs. The storage ring was obtained from the white-robed young man. The space inside was much larger than Luo Xiu's own storage wristband. It should be a treasure refined by a 3rd-level array mage. There are also weapons they use. The 2 Qi Si 5th-level soldiers use low-grade human-level weapons. while the white-robed young man's sword is a mid-grade human-level weapon, worth at least 1,000 vitality stones. Roar! Suddenly, an earth-shattering beast roar echoed through the mountains and forests, making Luo Xiu feel his eardrums buzzing and the energy and blood in his body shaking. Just a beast's roar can be so powerful. It must be at least a level 3 monster. Luo Xiu's expression changed slightly. This was the dangerous Baki Mountain, and the bloody aura could easily attract powerful monsters nearby. He did not dare to stay within the range of life perception. A powerful aura belonging to the monster appeared. He quickly used his body skills to leave the place quickly. After a long time, Luo Xiu appeared next to a creek, drank some water with his hands, and washed his face. Thinking of the 3 people he had killed before, Luo Xiu's face suddenly became filled with frost. Then Zhang Luoyang sent 3 disciples to kill me. If the 3 of them never go back, he will definitely be suspicious. When the time comes that I join the Xiaoyao sect, there will definitely be a lot of trouble. Regarding the ancestor of the Zhang family, Master Qingyun Palace also told Luo Xiu that he was a master martial artist at the 9th level of Xiantian realm. A person like him at the 1st level of Qi Hai could easily be crushed to death with one finger. Luo Xiu knew very well that even if he could damage the life veins and challenge in a higher level, this ability would not be effective if the opponent's strength was too much greater than his own, because the more powerful the warrior, the life veins would become stronger and difficult to damage. With his brows furrowed, Luo Xiu also considered not taking the entrance examination, but without the identity of a disciple of Xiaoyao sect, he would have no status in Yunlong County. When the time comes, the ancestor of the Zhang family will be even more unscrupulous if he wants to deal with him. I know that there are tigers in the mountains, but I can only bite the bullet and go to the Tiger Mountains. After thinking about it, Luo Xiu decided to take the entrance examination. The master of Qingyun Palace said that as long as he can become an outer disciple, even though the ancestor of the Zhang family has the power, he will not dare to do anything to him. If he performs well and is specially trained, his status will even be higher than that of the elder of the Zhang family. Above the ancestors, as for his parents, the master of Qingyun Palace also promised that as long as they are in Qingyun City, he will protect their safety so that Luo Xiu can have no worries. Buzz. At this moment, Luo Xiu felt a slight tremor coming from the shadow sword behind him. What happened? Luo Xiu was slightly startled, and pulled out the shadow sword with a clang. He saw the position where the sword hilt and the sword body were connected, and the word dark engraved on it emitted a dark light. The sword body trembled slightly, as if there was a summons originating from afar. A sense of summons? Luo Xiu frowned slightly and looked into the distance in one direction. He sensed that the source of the tremor of the shadow sword came from this direction. When he bought the shadow sword at the weapon shop, the shopkeeper once said that a hunter found it in ancient ruins. Luo Xiu always thought that the shopkeeper made up such a story in order to sell the sword at a good price. However, the shadow sword is indeed made of a special material, and its power is only equivalent to that of a low-grade human-level warrior, but even if it is chopped by a high-grade human-level warrior, it cannot leave a single trace on it. Does this sword really have any origin? What's going on with this summoning feeling? Luo Xiu couldn't help but be a little confused and curious at the same time. Returning the sword to its sheath, Luo Xiu jumped up and quickly shuttled through the forest of Baki Mountain with the help of the shadow sword's subtle induction summons. At the same time, a dark-skinned young man was walking in the mountain forest, the scabbard on his back trembling slightly. The lightsaber trembled. Could it be that it sensed that the dark sword was nearby? The young man's eyes flashed, and he immediately jumped up and ran towards the direction where the lightsaber was detected. The power of the 2 swords of light and darkness is only equivalent to that of a low-level human-level warrior. Innate martial arts masters are at least mid-level human-level warriors. The person holding the dark sword is definitely not very strong. I should be able to snatch it. This young man has dark and shiny skin, a strong body, and vigorous movements. He runs like a tiger with a fierce breath. Chapter 35, King Wu's Treasure House. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the dense forest of Baki Mountain, 2 figures were running quickly and shuttled back and forth. As the distance gets closer and closer, the swords behind each other are trembling more and more violently. Luo Xiu always used his life to sense the movement nearby. Suddenly, the aura of a human warrior appeared in his perception, and a figure quickly appeared in his sight, rushing towards him at a very fast speed. It's him. Looking closely, Luo Xiu saw a sword on the opponent's body, and the trembling sensation of the shadow sword was transmitted from the opponent's sword. Boom! When the two of them were more than 10 meters apart, the dark-skinned young man suddenly burst into earth-yellow light, broke off a section of the trunk of a big tree with a click, and threw it directly towards Luo Xiu. This tree trunk is very thick, with the sound of howling wind, and it is powerful and heavy, which shows how amazing the opponent's brute force is. Snapped! The shadow sword was unsheathed behind him, and saw sawdust flying all over the sky. Luo Xiu landed on the ground, smashing the tree trunk he hit into pieces in mid-air. He saw the shadow sword trembling violently in his hand, as if it was disobedient, and Luo Xiu couldn't help but frown. 5 or 6 meters away, a young man with dark and shiny skin stared at the shadow sword in his hand with a pair of bright eyes. "Boy, give me the sword in your hand." The young man stared at Luo Xiu with a stiff tone. "Why should I give it to you?" Luo Xiu put the sword into its sheath, because the violent tremor would affect his ability to perform. The black-faced young man on the opposite side took action directly as soon as he came up. There must be something fishy about the violent reaction between the two swords, so Luo Xiu would naturally not hand over the sword. "Aren't you afraid that I will kill you?" The young man stared at Luo Xiu with a cold voice. "You can try." Luo Xiu was not afraid. Through the induction of life breath, the opponent's strength was probably equal to that of the white-robed young man he killed before. "In that case, I just need to take action." The dark-faced young man narrowed his eyes slightly and clenched his fists gently, his finger bones making a crackling sound. Bang! The black-faced young man stepped out, and the ground shook suddenly, like a tiger leaping out, appearing directly in front of Luo Xiu. The true energy in his fist condensed, emitting an earthy yellow light, and the strong wind was unparalleled. Luo Xiu's eyes condensed, and he immediately used the dragon tiger fist, and the black flames of death condensed on his fists. He knew very well that facing such a master of the 7th level of Qi Si, he had to go all out to compete with him. Boom! Two fists containing powerful winds collided together, and invisible air waves exploded, causing ripples visible to the naked eye in the air. All the dead branches and leaves on the forest floor were also blown up, which shows that the two fists how violent. Kick, kick, kick. Luo Xiu took 3 steps back. On the other hand, the dark-faced young man opposite him was as firmly rooted as a rock and did not move at all. "You actually master the power of black flames." There was a trace of surprise in the eyes of the black-faced young man. "Yeah." Luo Xiu also looked surprised, and suddenly remembered the earthy yellow light on the opponent's fist just now. The power was extremely strong. He thought that one punch would definitely damage the opponent's life veins, but the black-faced young man was nothing. "No children. I was born with a special physique. When I was in the body refining state, the inner energy I cultivated contained the earth attribute. It seems that you must also have a special physique. Otherwise, it would be impossible to cultivate the attribute power without reaching the innate state." The black-faced young man spoke in a deep voice, not knowing that Luo Xiu was not born with a special physique, but had the power of fire by absorbing the Huiyangju vein. Moreover, what Luo Xiu masters is not just a kind of attribute power. The attributes of life, death, fire, and the white flame of life, black flame of death, and bipolar energy of life and death formed by the fusion of each other. Looking at the life veins of the black-faced young man, Luo Xiu found that the life veins of the other party were the same as those of other Qi realm warriors, exuding a cyan halo. The difference was that the life veins of the black-faced young man were the veins also have a layer of earthy yellow light. The reason why the punch just now did not damage the opponent's life veins was because it was blocked by the earthy yellow light. This is something Luo Xiu has never seen in other warriors. Obviously, all this is because this black-faced young man is born with a special physique. At this moment, the black-faced young man on the opposite side took action again, his fingers bent into claw shapes, and an earthy yellow light flickered between his palms. Luo Xiu felt like he was facing a formidable enemy. The wheels of life and death in his dantian rotated rapidly, and the black flames of death condensed in his hands. Bang! That the two collided violently again, and Luo Xiu felt that the opponent's qi seemed to be very heavy, making his fists feel bursts of severe pain. This time, he took another 3 steps back. The black-faced young man opposite did not pursue him, but looked at his palms with a gloomy expression. What a weird black flame. After 2 consecutive fights, he could feel the black flame qi used by the other party entering his body and burning his meridians and flesh. Even with the earth attribute qi, it was difficult to resist. While the black-faced young man was in a daze, Luo Xiu flipped his hand and took out the mid-level human-level war sword he had obtained from killing the white-robed young man from the storage ring. Thunder 9 swords. The sword light was like lightning, tearing the air and bringing up black flames. It was so fast that it was in front of the black-faced young man in an instant. Humph, my energy is good at defense, you can't hurt me. The black-faced young man looked calm and punched directly to resist the sword edge, but the next moment, the black-faced young man's face changed instantly. Puff! Blood splattered, and under the severe pain in his right hand, the black-faced young man quickly retreated, with a look of surprise and uncertainty on his face. So that's it. Luo Xiu's eyes lit up. Although the opponent's life veins were protected by earth-yellow light, as long as the attack power was enough, it could still be broken open and hurt the opponent. The power of using the 9 thunder swords with a middle-grade human-level war sword is naturally much more powerful than Luo Xiu's fist. Stop! Just when Luo Xiu was about to take action again, the black-faced young man suddenly shouted loudly. What? It's you who wants to hit you. Just stop when you say stop. Luo Xiu sneered and unfolded his sword technique, like a black light curtain, covering the black-faced young man. Puff puff. Flowers of blood bloomed, and the black-faced young man was forced to retreat continuously. The skin and flesh on his body were torn in many places, and blood gushed out. The earth attribute qi that he was most proud of in the past could not withstand Luo Xiu's sword edge. However, Luo Xiu did not kill him. The injuries on the black-faced young man were all superficial wounds, and he just looked embarrassed. The war sword took out the sword flower in his hand, and returned the sword into its sheath with a clang. Luo Xiu smiled slightly. Okay, you can say it now if you have anything to say. You. The black-faced young man was so angry that he almost vomited blood. His face was extremely gloomy, but because his face was originally dark, he couldn't tell. What are you doing? You attacked me as soon as you came up, so I'll give you a small punishment. Otherwise, based on what you just said you wanted to kill me, do you think you're still alive now? Luo Xiu shouted coldly. Humph. The black-faced young man also knew that Luo Xiu was telling the truth, otherwise the wounds from those swords just now would not have been insignificant places, but the vital parts of the body. Chang, the black-faced young man reached out and pulled out the long sword from his back, only to see that it was a snow-white long sword that was also trembling violently at this moment. Luo Xiu's eyes fell on the connection between the sword hilt and the sword body, and he saw an engraved word light. The sword in my hand is called a light sword, and the one in your hand is a dark sword. The black-faced young man said. What is the connection between these two swords? Luo Xiu asked. The black-faced young man glanced at Luo Xiu and said, these two swords, called the double swords of light and darkness, were forged by a 5th-level sword master 700 years ago. 5th-level sword-making master. Luo Xiu had a look of surprise on his face, but immediately frowned. You made it up randomly, right? A 5th-level sword-making master can forge earth-level soldiers, and these two. The sword is clearly just an ordinary low-level soldier. Soldiers are divided into 3 levels, heaven, earth, and people, and each level is divided into low grade, medium grade, high grade, and top grade. Only 5th-level masters who are proficient in the art of casting can create earth-level warriors. As for heaven-level warriors, they basically exist in legends, and even the top 9th-level casting masters cannot refine them. As far as Luo Xiu knows, the top master of the Foundry Guild in Qingyun City is only a 3rd-level master. A 5th-level foundry master can be regarded as the highest level existence in the entire Yunlong County. What do you know? The 5th-level master I'm talking about is not an ordinary forger, but a 5th-level master who specializes in sword-making. The black-faced young man snorted. There are many types of weapons used by warriors, and some forgers specialize in a certain type, which is most highly regarded by warriors who use similar weapons. The swords of light and darkness that he specially forged are naturally not ordinary weapons, but keys. The black-faced young man said as he took out the golden sore medicine and applied it to the wound. Key? What key? Luo Xiu asked, vaguely feeling that this dark-faced young man might not be making up a story. The key to a treasure house. And it's a treasure house left by the powerful king of martial arts. Martial King's treasure house. Luo Xiu's eyes flashed. Now he is no longer a fledgling boy. He once received guidance from the master of the martial arts palace and learned that there are actually more powerful beings above the body-refining martial arts disciples, Qi warriors, and innate martial arts masters. Above the innate martial masters, there is the god-refining martial sect. The so-called martial sect is a martial arts master who can fly in the air and fly across the sky. Above the Lianshan martial sect, there is also the realm of kings, known as the king of martial arts, and known as the king of martial arts. The reason why Xiaoyao sect has become the largest force in Yunlong County and can be called the overlord of the Tianwu kingdom is because there are strong men at the level of King Wu sitting in command. If one could cultivate to such a level, he would be able to talk to a powerful force like Xiaoyao sect on an equal footing. That treasure house is a legacy of my ancestors. To open it, you must have both light and dark swords. I only have the light sword in my hand. The dark sword is in your hand. I can take you there with me. The black-faced young man said. Naturally, it is impossible for him to tell the location of the treasure house now. Which martial king is your ancestor? Luo Xiu asked. King Buchen Wu. He is also a 5th-level swordsmith, and I am the descendant of King Buchen Wu, Bu Fei. Why should I trust you? Luo Xiu stared at Bu Fei. Since it is the treasure house left by your ancestors, are you willing to share it with me? Sensing Luo Xiu's distrust of him, Bu Fei snorted coldly. Believe it or not, if the dark sword wasn't in your hand and I wasn't your opponent, how could I tell you this? Luo Xiu thought about how credible Bu Fei's words were. The treasure house left by a strong martial king was still very attractive. Even a big force like Xiaoyao sect would be tempted, let alone Luo Xiu. A young martial artist with the first level of Qi. But he also knows that there is no such thing as a good thing in the world, and Bu Fei must have an ulterior motive for telling him this. How long does it take to get to the treasure house? Luo Xiu asked. He didn't want to miss the Xiaoyao sect's assessment. 1 month is enough. Bu Fei said. Okay, I'll go with you. I hope you don't play tricks, otherwise I will kill you. I guess you won't make fun of your own life, right? Luo Xiu finally made a decision. Just be careful and retreat immediately if you find something is wrong. Chapter 36 The Thin Line of Life and Death. You are listening at novelfull.audio. According to the black-faced young man Bu Fei, the treasure house left by King Buchenwu is located deep in the Baqi mountain. The Bu family was originally a top martial arts family in Yunlong County, but since the death of their ancestor, King Buchenwu, more than 700 years ago, and the loss of one of the swords of light and darkness, the Bu family fell into despair and gradually became an ordinary family. By Bu Fei's generation, he was the only one left in the Bu family. In the depths of the Baqi mountains, second-level monsters are very common. Some of the top second-level monsters are as powerful as the 9th level of Qihai. Stop! The two of them were walking in the forest when Luo Xiu suddenly stopped and frowned. What's wrong? Bu Fei asked. If we go further, there is a level 3 monster more than 700 meters away from us, which is comparable to an innate martial artist. Luo Xiu said in a deep voice, then pointed to the right. Let's go around here. How do you know there is a 3rd-level monster? Bu Fei looked confused. Roar! At this moment, a terrifying roar came from the front, and the evil spirit swept through the mountain forest. Zhang Bufei's expression changed, and his mind became awe-inspiring. Just from this power, Bufei could be sure that the monster that made such a terrifying roar must be an extremely terrifying existence that could not be competed by the Qi Si realm. Seeing Luo Xiu walking towards the right, Bufei's eyes flickered, and he felt more and more that this young man in black was full of mystery. The two of them were not silent as they walked along. He also inquired about Luo Xiu's origins and found out that he was a student of Qingyun Martial Hall, named Luo Xiu. In Luo Xiu's perception, there was a fierce aura belonging to the monster beast, which was much more powerful than those of the innate martial arts elders in the martial palace. With the help of the special ability of life perception, Luo Xiu and Bufei traveled through the deepest area of the Baki mountain without any danger. If it weren't for Luo Xiu's reminder, Bufei knew very well that he would definitely not have been able to get here on his own. Along the way, he had at least avoided the area inhabited by level 3 monsters nearly 10 times. How long will it take to reach the treasure house? Luo Xiu asked. During this period, the two of them had traveled through the Baki mountains for 7 days. Because they had to avoid the territory of powerful monsters on the way, they often needed to take detours, which was why it took so long. Bufei took out a roll of animal skin with a map on it, carefully looked at the nearby terrain, and said, "We should be able to arrive in 2 days at the latest. Let me take a look." Luo Xiu stepped forward, but Bufei quickly put the map away. During this exploration of King Wu's treasure house, the two of them were actually on guard against each other. Bufei knew very well that Luo Xiu had the ability to kill him, so this map was the basis for his cooperation with Luo Xiu. Luo Xiu has the key to unlocking the treasure house, the Dark Sword. If he wants to kill himself and seize the map, he is fully capable of destroying the map before Luo Xiu kills him. Luo Xiu himself knew this very well, so he always maintained a subtle harmony with Bufei. In this way, 2 days later, Luo Xiu and Bufei arrived at the entrance of a canyon. Next to the canyon, there is a river. Standing on the branches of the big tree, looking towards the canyon from a distance, I can see that the canyon is filled with dense and white mist, which is not clear to the naked eye. According to the description on the map, the treasure house is in this canyon, but to open the treasure house, in addition to the twin swords of light and darkness, you also need the blood of the direct descendants of King Buchan Wu. Bufei said, while looking at Luo Xiu warily in case he would suddenly snatch the lightsaber. Seeing the other party's cautious look, Luo Xiu said calmly, "I won't burn bridges just yet. As long as you don't use any tricks, I promise I won't do anything to you." At the beginning, Bufei did not say that the blood of Queen Buchanwu's descendants was needed to open the treasure house, but when he said this now, he was obviously worried that Luo Xiu would turn his back on him. The two of them were wary of each other and walked through the woods and into the canyon. Luo Xiu expanded his life perception and found that there was no life breath of monsters or human warriors in this canyon. As soon as the two of them entered the canyon, the surrounding white fog suddenly surged, and the naked eye could only see a range of more than 1 meter. "Bufei, what's going on?" Luo Xiu frowned and asked, but when he turned his head, Bufei, the black-faced young man, had disappeared. In the sealed canyon shrouded in dense white mist, Bufei held a disc in his hand with complex patterns engraved on it. There was a red pointer in the center of the disc, and the pointer was swinging back and forth. "How can you, an outsider, get your hands on the treasure trove left by the ancestors of my Bu family?" According to the direction pointed by the disc pointer, the surrounding white fog had almost no impact on Bufei. In fact, the dense white fog covering the canyon is a 4th-level formation. Without the correct direction guidance, even if a master of innate martial arts comes in, it will be difficult to get out, and he will be trapped here for the rest of his life. The dark sword is still in his hand. He must be killed before I can get the dark sword and open the treasure house. Bufei's eyes revealed a murderous intent. If the dark sword had not been lost back then, with the many treasures and resources left by the ancestors, the Bu family would not have fallen to the level it is today. So no matter what, Bufei is determined to get the treasures and wealth left by his ancestors. Even if he doesn't use it to revive the Bu family, he at least hopes to become a strong martial king comparable to his ancestors. After a while, Bufei walked out of the area shrouded in white mist, entered the depths of the canyon, and found a cave. The cave is more than 10 meters high, and the howling wind echoes in the cave. like a ghost crying and a wolf howling. Just standing at the entrance of the cave, Bufei can feel a sinister and terrifying aura lingering deep in the cave. According to the records left by our ancestors, there is a 5th-level monster guarding the entrance to this treasure house. Bufei flipped his hand and took out a jade pendant from the storage wristband. Then he bit his fingertip and smeared a drop of blood on the jade pendant. The jade pendant flashed its brilliance and absorbed the blood in an instant. Roar! A terrifying, heart-stopping roar came from the cave, and the vast sound waves echoed for more than 10 miles, causing the dense white mist in the canyon to roll violently. What? Luo Xiu, who was walking in the dense white mist, heard the roar, his blood boiled in his body, and his eardrums stung. He was faintly flustered because of this roar. At the entrance of the cave deep in the canyon, Bufei felt a terrifying aura coming towards him, and a black tiger beast with 2 heads appeared in front of him. This demon beast is 7 or 8 meters tall and more than 10 meters long. It is like a black hill. The terrifying evil aura permeating its body is almost suffocating. 2-headed tiger. Bufei felt that his breathing had stopped and his heart was beating violently. This is a terrifying 5th-level monster that is comparable to the mighty King Wu. It is the contracted beast of the ancestor of the Bu family, King Buchan Wu. Before his death, King Buchan Wu left this monster to guard the treasure house and at the same time give it to his descendants. Leave a token, and the jade pendant in Bufei's hand is a token. The 4 scarlet eyes on the 2 heads stared closely at the jade pendant in Bufei's hand. The aura on the double-headed Tongyu tiger gradually converged, and he let out a deep roar, and the viciousness in the blood pupils also seemed much softer. The blood aura in the jade pendant made it certain that the human being in front of it was the descendant of its former owner. Seeing that the 2-headed ghost tiger did not harm him, Bufei took a deep breath and gradually calmed down. He held the jade pendant in his hand and pointed at the area shrouded in white mist. He said with murderous intent, "Someone wants to rob the treasure house left by the ancestors. Go and kill him. Bring back what he has on him." The 5th-level monster has become psychic. Although it cannot speak human words, it can still understand what Bufei said. Roar! The double-headed Tongyu tiger raised its head and let out an angry roar, and its huge body suddenly rushed out, like black lightning, rushing into the dense white mist. With the ability to sense life, Luo Xiu has locked onto Bufei's life breath. It only takes a moment to get out of this area shrouded in white mist. Suddenly, an extremely huge aura of life appeared within his range of perception, and approached his location at a very fast speed. Not good. Luo Xiu heard the terrifying roar, and in the hazy white mist, he saw a huge black shadow charging towards him ferociously. The terrifying aura almost suffocated Luo Xiu. Under the pressure of life and death, the wheels of life and death in the Dantian Qi Sea also rotated rapidly, and the bipolar air currents of life and death circulated around him. Whoosh! Qi Men escape technique unfolded, and his body turned into an afterimage and quickly left its original position. Boom! A huge black shadow oppressed Luo Xiu's original position. Earth and rock splashed and flew, and 4 scarlet eyes flashed with a strange red light, like 4 red lights in the hazy white mist. This is an extremely terrifying monster. Even the most powerful warrior Luo Xiu has ever seen, the master of the Qingyun City Martial Hall, is as fragile as a child compared to this 2-headed black tiger. Run! Luo Xiu didn't need to hesitate at all. He used his body skills to the limit. Under the pressure of this desperate situation of death, all his potentials almost burst out, but no matter how fast Luo Xiu was, it had no effect at all in front of the double-headed ghost tiger. Whoosh! The double-headed Tongyu tiger jumped slightly, and its huge body instantly sprang out, like a shadow cast by black iron, completely covering Luo Xiu. No! Luo Xiu roared at the top of his lungs, and his eyes were bloodshot. He would never be willing to die like this. Under the desperate situation, the oppression of death allowed him to burst out his potential, and the Qi body escape technique jumped from the realm of Deshang to a whole new level. Boom! The huge tiger claws made a hole in the ground, but what was shattered was just an afterimage of Luo Xiu. Roar! The 2-headed Tongyu tiger let out a deep roar. Unable to tolerate that a humble and insignificant ant could escape from his hands, it opened its mouth, and a huge suction force emerged. The surrounding white mist gathered crazily. Luo Xiu, who had just escaped not far away, also felt this huge suction force. His body seemed to be stuck, unable to do anything. Move, he looked back and saw the double-headed Tongyu tiger opening its two bloody mouths, swallowing everything nearby like a black hole whirlpool, covering an area of several hundred meters. No. I can't die. Luo Xiu tried his best to run the pure yang kung fu, but even with the Chiman escape technique that had reached the perfect state, he could not get rid of this terrifying suction force. His body flew up involuntarily and fell into the bloody mouth of the double-headed Tongyu tiger. Go, at this critical moment between life and death, Luo Xiu felt a violent throbbing in his soul, and his body was enveloped in black and white light. Buzz. Luo Xiu's figure disappeared instantly, and only a black and white bead fell into the mouth of the double-headed Tongyu tiger. Luo Xiu's consciousness fell into darkness. Chapter 37 The Weak Successor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bu Fei was waiting at the entrance of the cave, with a cold smile on his lips. He heard Luo Xiu's cry of reluctance before he died. Facing the powerful fifth-order double-headed ghost tiger, not to mention a small Qi-Si warrior, even an innate martial artist would definitely die. Call. A fishy wind with a vicious aura rushed towards the face, and the two-headed Tongyu tiger came back. The left head of its head opened its bloody mouth and stretched out a claw to point. Did you eat him? Bu Fei's face showed joy. The two-headed Tongyu nodded. Where are the things on his body? Bu Fei asked immediately. The two-headed Tongyu still pointed at his bloody mouth. Eat it too. Bu Fei's expression changed. I asked you to kill him and bring the food back. How could you eat it? Bu Fei was about to cry without tears. He couldn't get into the mouth of this monster to find it, could he? But the two-headed ghost tiger ignored him again. As a fifth-level monster, although it was psychic, its thinking mode was still different from that of humans. The huge body got into the cave, and the two-headed Tongyu tiger lay on the ground in a corner. Its two heads opened its mouth wide, and yawned. Bu Fei's face was extremely gloomy, but he didn't dare to do anything to this fifth-level monster. He immediately went to the area shrouded in white mist and searched for 2 or 3 days, but found nothing. Did he really get eaten by that beast? What should I do? He thought that everything was under his own plan, but Bu Fei never thought that such a situation would occur. He was unwilling to leave like this, so he simply stayed in the canyon. The two-headed Tongyu tiger would go out to hunt every day or two. He could only hope that this big guy's digestive ability was not so good. Pull out the things from Luo Xiu's body. The lightsaber did not tremble in any way. Bu Fei speculated that Luo Xiu should have put the dark sword into the storage device. In the darkness, Luo Xiu didn't know how long he had been experiencing. Severe pain came from his head, and he suddenly opened his eyes. Memories came to his mind like a flood. He remembered that he was being chased by a terrifying two-headed black tiger. At the moment when he was swallowed by the two-headed black tiger, he felt a throbbing deep in his soul. Then he lost consciousness. Soul. Throbbing. Pearl of life and death. Thinking of this, Luo Xiu immediately checked his surroundings and found that he was in a strange space. The surroundings were like a vast starry sky, with countless light points hanging like stars, and the stars rushing like rivers and seas, giving Luo Xiu a familiar feeling. He frowned and quickly remembered that when he was treating Lu Mengyao's Huiyang Absolute Meridian, his consciousness had been swallowed by the life and death pearl, and then he entered a strange space, but that time, it was the consciousness that entered the life and death pearl, but this time, it seemed that his body also entered. What it is? Luo Xiu looked up and suddenly saw an extremely shocking scene that he would never forget. Above his head, an extremely huge roulette wheel slowly rotated, filled with a vast and unpredictable ancient aura. Countless star points and turbulent galaxies all revolved around the huge roulette wheel. On the huge wheel, runes, marks, and lines flashed out, full of endless mysteries, as if they contained the ultimate principles of the laws of heaven and earth. Buzz. At this moment, Luo Xiu sensed that the wheels of life and death in his dantian echoed each other and the huge wheel in the starry sky. They were both rotating, and even the frequency of rotation was exactly the same. Moreover, the wheels of life and death are quite similar to this huge roulette, like one is an infinitely enlarged version and the other is an infinitely reduced version. Are you the successor of this generation? You are too weak. Suddenly, an ancient voice full of vicissitudes of time passed into Luo Xiu's ears. Who? Luo Xiu looked around, and finally his eyes were fixed on the extremely huge roulette wheel above his head. The sound he heard seemed to come from this roulette wheel. Successor, I am not a human being. You can call me the spirit of reincarnation, or the spirit of the origin of life and death. The ancient vicissitudes of voice sounded again. I don't understand what you mean. Luo Xiu said with a frown. The huge roulette wheel rotated slowly, and Luo Xiu was like a tiny ant facing an elephant in front of it. Although you are weak, since the life and death pearl has chosen you, I will naturally tell you what you want to know. The ancient vicissitudes of voice slowly sounded. There are many laws in the universe, which follow the rules of the Great Road. Each law has its origin, such as the origin of the law of time, the origin of the law of space, the origin of the law of life, the origin of the law of death, etc. The life and death pearl is a treasure transformed from the origin of the law of life and death. The living beings selected by the life and death pearl are the successors to the origin of the law of life and death. In the cultivation of all creatures in the universe, only by mastering the origin of the laws can they become the most supreme existence. Now, little guy, do you know how lucky you are? You mean, I am the successor to the origin of the law of life and death? Luo Xiu asked. Yes, any law cannot have a second origin, which means that as long as you can cultivate to a strong enough state, you can master the life and death pearl and the origin of the law of life and death. Of course, you are so weak now that you can almost be ignored. You may not be able to reach that step. If some strong people who practice the law of life and death know that you have the life and death bead, as long as they kill you, they can seize the refining and master the origin of the law. Ever since I experienced the catastrophe of the last great era, I have been in a deep sleep. I never expected that the pearl of life and death would choose such a weak creature as its successor. Luo Xiu was a little embarrassed when he heard this. The ancient voice claiming to be the spirit of reincarnation seemed to be very dissatisfied with himself. According to the samsara spirit, it was because he was threatened by death that the life and death pearl automatically protected him, which woke him up from his deep sleep. Weak successor, since the pearl of life and death has chosen you, I will naturally follow the original will of the law of life and death and help you become stronger within the scope allowed by the rules of the avenue. The spirit of reincarnation said. Where are you? Luo Xiu couldn't help asking. I am right in front of you. The reincarnation you see is me, the weak successor. Reincarnation, Luo Xiu muttered to himself, in many legends, reincarnation represents an extraordinary meaning. Have you seen those star-like light spots around samsara? Weak successor. The spirit of samsara suddenly said. Luo Xiu nodded, curled his lips and said, Can you change the name you call me? Since you are weak, you have to admit your weakness. If you want me to change the title of you, then you have to make yourself stronger, weak successor. The voice of the spirit of reincarnation was calm and without any emotion. Fluctuation, Luo Xiu was helpless and shrugged, that's up to you. The spirit of reincarnation continued, in the universe, from the moment any living being is born, a mark of destiny will appear in the origin of the law of life and death, and it will be recorded in reincarnation. The light spots you see will represent a certain creature in the universe. Furthermore, after the death of every living being, its destiny mark will also dissipate, but its memories throughout its life will be recorded in the reincarnation of the origin of the law of life and death. When Luo Xiu heard these words, he felt incredible and couldn't help but ask, among these countless light spots, which one is the mark of my destiny? There is no mark of your destiny here. As the inheritor of the origin of the law, your mark of destiny has long been integrated with the origin of the law. The spirit of reincarnation said, however, I still want to remind you, weak successor, that given that your strength is still very weak, once you are killed by other creatures or die unexpectedly, your fate mark will also be dissipated, the life and death pearl will also carry the origin of the law and choose the next successor. Buzz. Suddenly, a black and white light fell from the huge samsara, and instantly disappeared into Luo Xiu's eyebrows. At the same time, a stream of information emerged in Luo Xiu's mind. This part of the memory information is a description of the wheels of life and death. It is mentioned that the wheels of life and death contain the mystery of the origin of the law of life and death, and there are 9 original law diagrams. However, the origin diagram of the 9 laws is difficult to comprehend and is profound and difficult to understand. Weak successors. The wheel of life and death is a technique derived from the origin of the law, and it is also a technique that every successor must practice. If you can thoroughly understand the origin diagram of the 9 laws, you can be recognized and become the law of life and death. The controller of the origin. The voice of the spirit of reincarnation sounded, saying, "Follow the constraints of the rules of the Great Road. I will only save you when you are threatened by death for the first time. If you want to enter the original space in the future, you will only have to wait until your cultivation level reaches only a higher realm can be achieved, and every breakthrough can be gifted by the original law." What is the gift of the original law? Luo Xiu asked curiously. I have just said that all the memories of all living things in the universe will be recorded in reincarnation. Even if you die, these memories will not disappear in reincarnation. The gift of the original law is the memory of countless living beings. Luo Xiu's eyes lit up. Then according to your opinion, I can get the memories of other living beings? Yes, but it must be within the scope allowed by the rules of the avenue. You are now in the Qihai realm and can get a gift, but this gift is random. The spirit of reincarnation said. Random? Luo Xiu couldn't help but feel a little disappointed, because if it was random, he might not get what he wanted. The gifts given by the original will of the law will tend to improve your abilities and will not give you useless memories. The spirit of reincarnation added. Hearing this, Luo Xiu breathed a sigh of relief and secretly thought that this made sense. Weak successor, do you want to receive a gift now? The voice of the spirit of reincarnation came. I want it now. Luo Xiu said without hesitation. He decided to improve his strength as soon as possible and get rid of the title of weak successor. Whoosh! A ray of light flew out from the huge reincarnation, like a bright beam of light, covering Luo Xiu's body and bathing him in the light. Suddenly, Luo Xiu felt a picture emerge in his mind, of a man whose face could not be seen clearly waving a long sword in his hand. In the world of martial arts, speed is the only thing that cannot be broken. When it comes to practicing swordsmanship, sticking to routines and rules is just a small way. As long as the sword in your hand is extremely fast, you can defeat countless sword techniques. That is the right way. Memories about how to practice the fast sword kept pouring into his mind, making Luo Xiu fascinated and immersed in it, unable to extricate himself. Chapter 38 Treasures in the Stone Chamber. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After an unknown amount of time passed, Luo Xiu slowly opened his eyes, and the light that enveloped him gradually disappeared. Everything returned to calm. Quick sword technique, no grade, 4 levels of realm, entry, small success, great success, and perfection. In the world of martial arts, speed is the only thing that cannot be broken. If the sword is extremely fast, it can surpass any sword technique. Once the sword is released, it will be like lightning and thunder, killing the enemy in an instant. Call. Luo Xiu let out a long breath. Just as the spirit of reincarnation said, the gift from the original law will focus on improving his strength. This quick sword technique really opened his eyes. Although it was a set of martial arts without any grade, it was better than any sword technique he had read in Qinyan Martial Palace. Chang, the war sword was unsheathed, and a sword light flashed instantly. The air fluctuated, and subtle fluctuations could be seen with the naked eye. According to the description in my memory, I can only be regarded as the entry level of Kuai Jianju. Luo Xiu knew very well that the memory given by the original law only allowed him to know how to practice, but it was impossible for him to directly reach the perfect state of Kuai Jianju. However, even though it is only an entry-level fast sword, its power is already comparable to that of the 4th grade Thundering 9 swords. Moreover, if the 9 thunder swords are executed using the key points of the quick sword, the power will be even greater. Compared to the quick sword technique, the laws of the wheel of life and death are more difficult. Luo Xiu frowned. The first diagram of the 9 origin laws was the simplest, but it still made Luo Xiu feel like he was reading a heavenly book. The various lines, runes, and marks were extremely complicated. Spirit of reincarnation, how do I leave this original space? Luo Xiu looked up at the huge reincarnation and asked. Weak successor, you can leave at any time. When your cultivation reaches the innate realm and you fully understand the first source law diagram of the wheel of life and death, you can enter the source space again. The voice of the spirit of reincarnation came. What's the situation outside? Is there any danger if I go out? Luo Xiu asked. The terror of the double-headed ghost tiger was still fresh in his memory. After you go out, you will appear directly in the belly of the two-headed Tongyu tiger. I wish you good luck, weak successor. As soon as the voice of the spirit of reincarnation fell, an irresistible force instantly rolled up Luo Xiu and disappeared from the original space in the life and death bead. Along with a feeling of dizziness, Luo Xiu smelled a disgusting stench and was already in the belly of the double-headed ghost tiger. It's been 10 days, I'm really unwilling. Buffet's face was haggard, and his body had a disgusting stench. He had rummaged through the feces of the double-headed Tongyu tiger countless times, but he still could not find any clues about the dark sword. Buzz, suddenly, the lightsaber behind him suddenly trembled. It's the dark sword's induction. Buffet's haggard face instantly showed joy, and his eyes immediately fell on the two-headed Tongyu tiger lying in the corner and sleeping. The light sword sensed the aura of the dark sword, which was inside this beast. Roar! The two-headed Tongyu tiger suddenly woke up from a deep sleep, stood up with its huge body, raised its head and let out an earth-shattering roar. The entire cave shook violently, gravel fell, and dust flew. Buffet, who was not far away, was the first to bear the brunt. He was directly thrown out by the terrifying tiger roar sound wave. His eardrums roared, he was dizzy, and blood spurted from his mouth. Holy crap! Why is this beast so crazy? Buffet was shocked and angry. Boom! 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 He saw the two-headed Tongyu tiger rolling violently in the cave, constantly making loud roars. Buffet didn't know what happened, so he could only watch from a distance, not daring to get close. In the belly of the double-headed Tongyu tiger, Luo Xiu was holding a mid-level human-level war sword and constantly slashing around. The 5th-level monster's body was powerful, but its internal organs and blood vessels were still fragile. In addition, Luo Xiu could directly the special ability to damage the vital veins caused great damage to the double-headed ghost tiger in an instant. Rumble, the two-headed Tongyu tiger kept rolling, roaring in pain, and its 2 heads kept spitting out blood and fragments of internal organs. Buffet's heart trembled when he saw it, and he didn't know what happened. More than half an hour later, the noise of the two-headed tiger was getting smaller and smaller, and there was silence in the cave. Buffet slowly approached and felt that the energy and blood of the double-headed Tongyu tiger had dissipated. At the same time, his heart was filled with doubts. This double-headed Tongyu tiger was a 5th-level monster. Why did it suddenly die when it was in good condition? Suddenly, Buffet noticed a hint of danger. Bang! The belly of the double-headed Tongyu tiger suddenly burst open, and a figure rushed out. The sword light was like a galaxy, and it was killing him. Buffet was shocked, his hair stood on end, and he quickly retreated. When he saw the face of the figure in front of him, he was stunned for a moment. Luo Xiu. You, how could you still be alive? Buffet's eyes widened, as if he had seen a ghost. It was simply unbelievable that a person who was swallowed by a 5th-level monster 10 days ago was still alive. Yes, I'm still alive, so you can go die. Luo Xiu was covered in blood, like Shura coming out of hell. The sword in his hand was like a ray of light, streaking through the air. Puff! Blood spattered, and Buffet backed away desperately. His palm was wiped on his neck, and it was full of blood. What a fast sword! If he had been a little slower just now, his throat would have been sealed with a sword. However, Luo Xiu from 10 days ago clearly did not have such strength, and his sword was not so fast or sharp. Snapped. Luo Xiu stepped out and appeared directly in front of Buffet like a ghost. Buffet's pupils shrank. Luo Xiu's movement speed at this moment was much faster than 10 days ago. How could he become so strong? After being swallowed by the two-headed Tongyu tiger, not only did he not die, but his strength increased greatly. At this moment, Buffet felt that he was so close to death. No! Luo Xiu, you can't kill me! Buffet shouted in fear. Buzz! The trembling sword cry reached his ears, and the sword edge stopped at Buffet's neck. The strong wind cut his skin and blood flowed out. Buffet felt that his heart was about to jump out of his throat. Give me a reason not to kill you. Luo Xiu stared at Buffet closely and said indifferently. I am the only descendant of King Xuanhuan. Only I can open the treasure house. Buffet seemed to have grasped the last straw that could save his life. Why should I trust you? A sarcastic sneer appeared at the corner of Luo Xiu's mouth, and with a flick of his wrist, the sword blade slashed across Buffet's head, with eyes still wide open, flying up, blood gushing out like a fountain. This Buffet wanted to put him to death at every turn. With Luo Xiu's character, it was impossible to let go of such a person. Even if King Wu's treasure house really requires Buffet to open it, Luo Xiu would rather not get the contents of the treasure house than let him go. In the past, he would have been extremely moved by King Wu's treasure house, but his experience in the original space of the Life and Death Pearl was insignificant compared to King Wu's treasure house. Picking up the lightsaber and storage wristband from Buffet, Luo Xiu quickly found a scroll from his storage wristband. The style of the scroll is quite old, and after unfolding it, it contains the relevant records about the treasure house left by King Xuanhuan to future generations. It was mentioned that in order to open the treasure house, in addition to the twin swords of light and darkness, a jade pendant infected by the blood of Queen Xuanhuan's descendants was needed. Only when the three were combined into one could the treasure house be opened. As for the fact that a descendant of Queen Xuanhuan must be able to open the treasure house, there is no mention in the book. Humph, you are still lying to me when you are about to die. Luo Xiu glanced at Buffet's body, and then walked towards the depths of the cave. The light in the cave was dim, but Luo Xiu had already obtained the map, and soon found a stone door deep in the cave. The shape of the stone gate is very simple, about 5 or 6 meters high. There are 3 grooves next to the 2 stone gates. Luo Xiu took out the 2 swords of light and darkness and inserted them into the 2 grooves respectively. The sword body, hilt and grooves perfectly matched. Luo Xiu then took out a jade pendant from Buffet's storage wristband and pressed it into the 3rd groove. After a warrior dies, the essence and blood will dissipate, so Luo Xiu doesn't know if this jade pendant has been soaked with Buffet's essence and blood. If not, this martial king's treasure house will not be able to be opened, but what Luo Xiu doesn't know yet is that this jade pendant is actually a token of King Xuanhuan. His descendants must integrate their blood essence into the jade pendant to avoid being attacked by the two-headed ghost tiger. Days ago, he had already let the jade pendant absorb his blood essence. Therefore, when Luo Xiu pressed the jade pendant into the groove, there was only a moment of pause. The stone door suddenly trembled, and with a rumbling sound, the heavy stone door 5 or 6 meters high slowly rose. Luo Xiu's face showed joy and he stepped into the open stone door. This is a man-made stone chamber. The surrounding walls are gleaming. Several luminous pearls of great value in the world are inlaid on the stone walls, filling the entire stone chamber with bright brilliance. On the right side of the stone room, there was a row of bookshelves. Luo Xiu walked over and saw martial arts secret books placed on them. The books were all made of special paper and were still intact after hundreds of years. 6th level martial arts. Luo Xiu picked up a book at random, and after flipping through it, he found that it contained a martial art called Xianyi Nether Palm. As far as he knew, the highest level martial arts recorded in the Xiaoyao sect, the dominant force in Yunlong County, was only the 7th level martial arts. But here, when he opened a book at random, it turned out to be the 6th level martial arts. Luo Xiu was overjoyed and immediately put all these secret books into the storage ring. There were 32 secret books, 18 for 5th level martial arts, 13 for 6th level martial arts, and 1 for 7th level martial arts. Luo Xiu didn't take a closer look. He turned to look at the other side of the stone room and saw a row of shelves with 23 long swords on them. They exuded a sharp aura that made Luo Xiu's heart skip a beat. I couldn't help but shudder. War sword. And it's not an ordinary war sword. Luo Xiu's face showed excitement. He is a sword practitioner himself, and he instinctively likes and gets close to a good sword. What's more, here is not just one sword, but 23. Not far away, Luo Xiu saw a book, picked it up and looked through it, and found that it contained some messages left by King Buchenwu. King Buchenwu, in addition to his own cultivation and entering the realm of martial arts king, is also a 5th level sword master. The 23 swords in the stone chamber are all his proud works in his life, of which 20 the war sword is a low-grade earth-level sword, and the best 3 war swords are a mid-grade earth-level sword. According to common sense, a mid-grade war sword of the earth level requires a 6th level swordsmithing master to forge it. However, King Buchenwu accidentally obtained the fragments of the ancient sword-making technique, and then he forged the earth-level sword at the 5th level. A mid-grade war sword. This volume also records the ancient sword-making technique obtained by King Buchenwu. In addition to martial arts and sword fighting, there is also a pile of vitality stones in this stone chamber. Different from the low-grade vitality stones that Luo Xiu usually uses, the vitality stones in the stone chamber are more pure and translucent. They are middle-grade vitality stones, which contain the purity of heaven and earth. Vitality is higher. There are probably close to 1,000 of this pile of middle-grade vitality stones. In addition, there are some array treasures and elixirs that were collected by King Buchenwu during his lifetime. Any of the treasures here are enough to make an innate martial artist bankrupt and unable to afford them, and make a martial arts master in the realm of refining gods crazy. I'm rich. Luo Xiu found a storage ring among those array treasures. It was a 5th level array treasure. The storage space was dozens of times larger than the ring he had used before. All the things were put away by Luo Xiu. Secret road search for King Wu's treasure house this time was a success without any danger, and the harvest was extremely huge. Compared with the wealth in King Wu's treasure house, Luo Xiu felt that his biggest gain was a deeper understanding of the pearl of life and death. Chapter 39 Provocation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After collecting all the treasures in the stone chamber, Luo Xiu looked at the huge corpse of the double-headed tiger. According to the relevant records left by King Buchenwu, the double-headed Tongyu tiger is a 5th level monster, comparable to the martial arts king, and its strength is tyrannical. The treasures of such a high-level monster are immeasurable. Luo Xiu immediately raised his hand and put the huge corpse into the storage ring. There is still nearly a month left before the entrance examination. During this period, it is better to practice here and improve your strength. There is a dense white mist formed by the formation at the entrance of this canyon, so there is no need to worry about being disturbed, and the vitality of heaven and earth here is quite strong, making it suitable for silent cultivation. There are many elixirs in the storage ring, but Luo Xiu does not dare to use them indiscriminately, because these elixirs are at least 4th grade, and the power contained in any one of them is not something that a Chi-Hai warrior can withstand. The 5th level spirit gathering formation device and the middle grade vitality stone. These 2 things are enough to make my cultivation improve by leaps and bounds. Turning around and walking into the stone chamber, Luo Xiu inlaid a middle grade vitality stone on the 5th level spirit gathering device. The vitality of heaven and earth from all directions quickly gathered, forming a thick mist around him. The rich cultivation of heaven and earth energy was very effective. In just half a day, Luo Xiu felt that his cultivation had reached the peak of the 1st level of Qi-Si, and was infinitely close to the 2nd level of Qi-Si. From the 1st level to the 2nd level of Qi-Si, it is the accumulation of true energy. As long as the energy absorbed is enough, there is basically no bottleneck for breakthrough. Taking out a middle-grade vitality stone from the storage ring, Luo Xiu used his skills to absorb the pure vitality inside. That night, a powerful aura rose up from Luo Xiu's body. As the qi continued to grow, the space in his dantian became larger and larger, and there was more and more qi in the form of mist. After his dantian reached a saturated state, Luo Xiu could no longer absorb more vitality, and his cultivation level was promoted to the second level of Qi Si. The first picture of the original law of the Wheel of Life and Death. The improvement of his cultivation level did not make Luo Xiu very happy, because the diagram of the origin law was too difficult, and he had not even understood a little bit. According to the spirit of reincarnation, there are 9 original law diagrams in total. The first picture alone is already so profound and complicated. The difficulty of understanding the 8 more profound law diagrams that follow can be imagined. For the next month, Luo Xiu practiced hard in this canyon. Compared to martial arts cultivation, he focused more on understanding the quick sword technique and the Wheel of Life and Death, Qinyan Martial Palace. Luo Xiu hasn't come back yet. Master Qinyan Palace, who was sitting high on the throne, frowned. The entrance examination will be held in 7 days. What should we do? Hall Master, according to the information we have, Luo Xiu left the city 2 months ago to go to Baki Mountain for training. Did he encounter some danger in the mountain? Elder Zhuang said with some worry. Probably not. I don't think Luo Xiu is a reckless and impulsive person. There must be other reasons why he hasn't come back for so long. The master of Qinyan Palace said solemnly, what I am most worried about is that Zhang Luoyang will attack Luo Xiu. Then should we send someone to Baki Mountain to look for it? Zhuang Nantian said. Master Qinyan Palace shook his head and said, if he is okay, he will come back by himself. If something happens, there is no point in looking for him. I heard that your genius Luo Xiu from Qinyan City is missing. At this moment, a loud laugh came from outside the hall. It was the master of the new Stone City Martial Hall who brought people to Qinyan City to challenge some time ago. Behind the new Stone Palace master, Xiaodie, dressed in red, walked with him, looking around with a pair of bright eyes, seemingly looking for Luo Xiu. Master Xinshi Palace came here uninvited. Why are you doing this? Master Qinyan Palace snorted coldly and said angrily. The entrance exam is about to start, so I happened to stop by and plan to go to Yunlong County with your Qinyan Martial Hall. The new Stone Hall master said with a smile, the annual entrance examination is held in Yunlong County, where the top talents from the martial arts halls in the entire Yunlong County will gather. Master Qinyan, when Xiaodie lost to Luo Xiu, he practiced diligently after returning and has now reached the second level of Qihai. He plans to compete with him in the entrance examination this time. Where are the others? Master Xinshi stroked his hair. Beard, eyes with smile. You, the master of the new Stone Palace, are well informed and ask questions knowingly. The master of the Qinyan Palace looked gloomy. Qinyan City and Xinshi City are adjacent to each other, and the two martial palaces have always competed with each other. As the master of the martial palace, he and the master of the new Stone Palace have been enemies for many years. Seeing the unkind look on the face of Master Qinyan, Master Xinshi gave up and said with a smile, it seems that Luo Xiu is going to miss this year's assessment. In that case, I won't bother you anymore. I won't give it away. The master of Qinyan Palace shook his sleeves and felt very unhappy. Time passed quietly, and in the blink of an eye it was another 3 days. The masters of martial arts halls in various cities gathered in Yunlong County with their geniuses. In addition, other young geniuses in Yunlong County who were not from martial arts halls also came here to participate in Xiaoyao Sec's apprenticeship assessment. Drive. When Luo Xiu rode into Qinyan City, the lord of the martial palace quickly got the news. If this kid comes back 1 day later, I'm afraid he will really miss this assessment. The master of Qinyan Palace breathed a sigh of relief and ordered, let Luo Xiu come see me as soon as possible. After a while, Luo Xiu came to the martial palace and met the master of Qinyan Palace. Regarding his recent experience, Luo Xiu had already made up a story, saying that he was assassinated in the Baki Mountains and was seriously injured, so he came back so late. As for Luo Xiu's killing of Zhang Luoyang's 3 disciples and King Wu's treasure house, he didn't mention a word. After all, Zhang Luoyang has 3 disciples, 2 at the 5th level of Qi Si and 1 at the 7th level of Qi Si. According to common sense, he cannot compete with his strength. If he said that he killed 3 people, it would inevitably make people doubt him. Is there any special means? Luo Xiu did not dare to be careless when it came to the secret of the life and death pearl. The spirit of reincarnation had said that if some strong man who practiced the law of life and death knew that he had the life and death pearl, he would definitely kill him and seize the origin of the law of life and death. It must be that old guy Zhang Luliang. Master Qingyun Palace looked angry. Those 3 people you mentioned should be Zhang Luliang's disciples. It's not easy for you to survive their assassination. While speaking, Master Qingyun's eyes fell on Luo Xiu, and he said in surprise, "Has your cultivation reached the 2nd level of Qi Si?" Luo Xiu nodded. "Under the desperate situation of life and death, I made a lucky breakthrough." "That's right. The lowest cultivation level of Zhang Luliang's disciple is the 5th level of Qi Si. It is reasonable for him to survive in such a fatal situation and achieve a breakthrough in cultivation level. As a strong man at the half-step God refining realm, Master Qingyun Palace naturally knows that in a desperate situation of life and death, warriors are the easiest to break through their limits. Therefore, many martial arts masters will travel abroad and walk in dangerous places, just hoping to make further progress in martial arts on the edge of life and death. The entrance exam will officially start in 3 days. We can rush there now, but it's not too late. The master of Qingyun Palace said slowly, stepped out of the hall, and suddenly raised his head and let out a long roar. Bah! A sharp whistle came from the sky, and then Luo Xiu saw a black spot in the sky getting bigger and landing quickly. As the distance continued to get closer, he saw that the black spot was a large eagle, with black feathers and wings spread out, like a black cloud, bringing about gusts of howling wind. Black Cloud Eagle, Luo Xiu recognized the origin of this monster. It was the mount tamed by Master Qingyun, a 3rd-level flying monster. The wings of the Black Cloud Eagle are more than 20 meters wide, and its back is wide, making it suitable for riding. The master of Qingyun Palace stepped in the air and landed on the back of the Black Cloud Eagle. He looked at Luo Xiu and said, "Come up. With the speed of the Black Cloud Eagle, we can reach Yunlong County in 2 days." Luo Xiu responded, jumped up, and landed behind the master of Qingyun Palace. His heart was surging, thinking that when he became stronger in the future, he would have to tame a powerful monster as a mount, which would be really impressive. Call, the wings of the Black Cloud Eagle vibrated, and surging air waves swept around, raising dust and fallen leaves all over the sky. The biting wind howled, and the Black Cloud Eagle flew extremely fast, causing the nearby clouds to quickly retreat. Looking down from a bird's-eye view, the earth is vast and everything seems so small. 2 days later, a majestic city appeared in front of it. The green city wall was dozens of feet high, rising across the city like a mountain range and covering a vast area. This is the Yunlong County city. The 5 Qingyun city combined are not as vast and majestic as this county city. Yunlong County city is the headquarters of Xiaoyao sect's outer sect. The master of the outer sect is personally in charge. It is said that he is a martial arts master who has reached the level of God refining. More than 10 miles away from Yunlong County city, the master of Qingyun Palace let the Black Cloud Eagle fall down, and the 2 of them walked towards the county city on foot. The gate of the city is bustling with people. There are teams of hunters ready to go out to hunt, and there are also warriors and traders from all walks of life lining up to enter the city. Follow me. The master of Qingyun Palace did not queue up, but took Luo Xiu directly to a side door at the city gate. The gatekeeper was a middle-aged man. When he saw the token taken out by the master of Qingyun Hall, he immediately saluted respectfully and opened the side door. As a strong man in the semi-refining realm, the status of the master of the martial arts hall in each city is equivalent to that of an outer sect deacon, and he naturally has some privileges. This was Luo Xiu's first visit to Yunlong County city. But the master of Qingyun Palace was familiar with the place and took him directly to a mansion in the city. This mansion is the temporary residence of geniuses who came from the martial palace and are preparing to take the entrance examination. The master of Qingyun Palace is here. Isn't there Luo Xiu from Qingyun City missing? The other 17 city palace masters couldn't help but be stunned after hearing the news. The boy in black is Luo Xiu. I heard that he has mastered pure Yang Kung Fu. Even among the outer disciples, there are no more than 20 people who have mastered pure Yang Kung Fu. Qingyun Martial Palace is very lucky. In more than 800 years, this is already the fourth person to practice pure Yang Kung, right? That the 17 city palace masters discussed with each other and looked at the Qingyun Palace master and Luo Xiu who were striding towards them. Everyone, I came down a little late, but fortunately I'm not late. Palace Master Qingyun laughed and walked over to greet the other palace masters. At the same time, an old servant came over and took Luo Xiu to the temporary residences of the martial arts geniuses in each city, waiting for the entrance examination to begin. This is a spacious courtyard, and each martial arts genius has a separate room. When Luo Xiu came here, the geniuses from the martial arts palaces in other cities also looked at him curiously. Are you Luo Xiu? In the courtyard, a young man wearing brocade clothes crossed his arms in front of his chest and stopped in front of Luo Xiu. I heard that you have practiced pure Yang Kung Fu and defeated Sister Xiaodie. The young man in brocade clothes had a very arrogant attitude and stared at Luo Xiu with an unkind expression. So what? Luo Xiu said lightly, as early as on the way here, the master of Qingyun Palace told him that the geniuses of the 18 cities martial palace would often fight and challenge each other before the entrance examination, so he should be careful to deal with them. But Luo Xiu didn't expect that someone would immediately challenge him as soon as he arrived. Chapter 40, Knocked Over with a Slap. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the courtyard, the other boys and girls all looked like they were enjoying the show. Seeing Luo Xiu's disapproving look, the young man in brocade clothes snorted coldly, pointed at Luo Xiu's nose, and said, "You are very arrogant. You just practiced the pure Yang Kung Fu. Do you really think you are a master?" Luo Xiu frowned slightly. The other party pointed at his nose with an arrogant attitude, which made him very unhappy. Isn't that Xuanhuan from Gaoi City Wuhao? I heard that he likes Nia Xiaodie from Xinshi Wuhao. Nia Xiaodie went to Qingyun City to challenge and lost to this Luo Xiu. This Xuanhuan wants to stand up for her. Maybe he can win a beautiful smile. Xuanhuan is 17 years old this year, and he is in the second level of Qi Hai. I heard that he has already practiced a 4th grade boxing method to perfection. His strength is amazing. Listening to the discussions of other Wuhao geniuses, Luo Xiu probably understood why this Xuanhuan would provoke him. What do you want? Luo Xiu still said lightly. Xuanhuan sneered, you bullied Sister Xiaodie, so I can't let you off easily. As long as you kneel on the ground and kowtow to me 3 times, I will forgive you this time. How about it? After saying that, Xuanhuan laughed, as if bullying others like this made him feel very accomplished. Luo Xiu's face was covered with frost, and he said coldly, "Are you sure you are not joking?" Jokes. You are worthy of me, the young master, to joke with you. Xuanhuan's face was full of disdain. You only have 2 choices now, either kneel down and kowtow to me 3 times, or I beat you to kneel down and beg for mercy, and then it will not be as simple as kowtow 3 times. When there is a fight between the geniuses of the martial arts halls in each city, the high level of the martial arts halls generally do not intervene, because this is a kind of competition in itself, and the weak are destined to be bullied by the strong. Although this kind of competition is a bit cruel, since you have chosen to embark on the path of martial arts practice, no one can escape this fate. Are you sure you are my opponent? Luo Xiu smiled playfully. Xuanhuan was stunned when he heard this. He wondered if Luo Xiu was mentally ill. He was a Qi Hai 2nd level warrior, and he was a guy who had only broken through the Qi Hai for 2 or 3 months at most. He could abuse him at will. Boy, it seems that you are not convinced. It seems that I can only beat you to kneel and beg for mercy. Xuanhuan's face sank, and he suddenly punched out. The light of true Qi burst out from his body, and the fierce fist wind tore through the air, making a snapping sound. This punch seemed casual, but it was actually very powerful. As a Qi Hai warrior, Xuanhuan dared to bully Luo Xiu unscrupulously, and he was also quite capable. On the one hand, he relied on the cultivation of the 2nd level of Qi Hai, and on the other hand, the 4th grade boxing of the Great Success realm. Xuanhuan had heard that Luo Xiu was good at swordsmanship. The two were so close, he was sure that Luo Xiu's sword would not be faster than his fist. Luo Xiu's expression was very calm. The opponent's fist seemed to be very powerful, but it was not a threat to him at all. Even this level of opponent didn't even have the qualifications to let him draw his sword. He just moved his feet slightly sideways and moved his body sideways, so Yuan Feishan's seemingly fierce punch missed. At this moment, Luo Xiu also made a move instantly and slapped Yuan Feishan in the face. Pa! That the loud slap echoed in the air, and Yuan Feishan's body flew up and rolled to the ground. What happened? The martial arts geniuses who were ready to watch the show were stunned. They didn't even see how Luo Xiu made the move, and Yuan Feishan was slapped to the ground. At this time, Yuan Feishan was shocked and angry, and his eyes were a little red because of anger. He was actually slapped in the face by a guy who was 3 years younger than him. This made him, who claimed to be a genius, simply unacceptable. Little beast, I want you dead. In anger, Yuan Feishan attacked again, his fists left after images, his true chi glowed with a faint golden light, and he was using the 4th-grade boxing technique to the extreme, but Luo Xiu was still calm, with his left hand behind his back and his right hand slowly raised. Pa! Another loud slap, Yuan Feishan was hit on the other side of his face, his body spun and flew up, and fell to the ground with a plop. What a fast speed! This time, the martial arts geniuses watching nearby saw Luo Xiu's attack carefully. How could he attack so fast? If he used a sword, wouldn't he be able to kill Yuan Feishan, who was at the 2nd level of Qi High, with one sword? The onlookers were stunned. No one expected the final result to be like this. Yuan Feishan, who was at the 2nd level of Qi High, had no power to fight back. What kind of monster was this Luo Xiu? In fact, the reason why Luo Xiu attacked so fast was because he practiced the fast sword technique. The quick sword technique has a set of special force-generating techniques, which can not only make the sword in the swordsman's hand faster, more accurate, and more fierce, but can also be applied to boxing, palm techniques, body techniques and other martial arts. Using this force-generating technique, for example, Luo Xiu can make his body techniques burst out in an instant, which can play an extremely practical role whether escaping or fighting with others. Yuan Feishan's cheeks were swollen like steamed buns. He screamed like crazy and was slapped to the ground by Luo Xiu twice in a row. It was undoubtedly a great shame for him. I will kill you. Kill you. He desperately urged the true energy in his body, and a thin and sharp dagger appeared in his hand, stabbing directly at Luo Xiu's chest. When he lost his mind, Yuan Feishan had murderous intentions. If he stabbed him this time, he would directly pierce Luo Xiu's heart and kill him on the spot, but the gap in strength cannot be made up by having an extra dagger in the hand. Bang! Everyone only saw Luo Xiu's legs suddenly move, and then Yuan Feishan flew backwards, spitting blood from his mouth, rolled his eyes, and fainted to the ground. On Yuan Feishan's chest, a footprint is clearly visible. Squeak! Just before everyone could come to their senses, Luo Xiu had already opened his door and walked in, then closed the door with a bang. For an opponent like Yuan Feishan who was not challenging at all, Luo Xiu didn't care at all about defeating him. This display of strength will surely make some guys who want to challenge him weigh his own weight, right? Soon, the news that Yuan Feishan was knocked to the ground by Luo Xiu's 2 slaps and a kick reached the ears of the Lord of the 18 Cities Martial Hall. The palace master of Gaoi City's face was so dark that he was almost dripping with water. This incident would undoubtedly make other palace masters laugh at him as a laughing stock. As the master of the martial palace, he naturally couldn't do anything to Luo Xiu, a junior, so he called Yuan Feishan to severely reprimand him. After all, if this kid hadn't taken the initiative to provoke him, this kind of thing would not have happened. Xiaodie and several other girls from the martial palace came back from shopping outside and heard about this incident. Xiaodie, Yuan Feishan stood up for you, but was beaten by Luo Xiu. You little girl, you are such a beauty. I heard that Yuan Feishan was severely scolded by the palace master of Gaoi City. I'm afraid he'll be so aggrieved that he'll die. Several girls were chattering in Xiaodie's ears. I didn't let him provoke Luo Xiu. What's more, I want to defeat Luo Xiu myself, so why bother using him? Xiaodie was as proud as a peacock. Xiaodie, your strength is basically the same as that of Yuan Feishan. I'm afraid you can't beat that Luo Xiu. I heard that his attack speed is so fast that Yuan Feishan can't react at all. Humph, I will defeat him sooner or later. Xiaodie said, clenching her fists. Luo Xiu was not in the mood to pay attention to what the outside world said. After practicing in the canyon deep in the Baki Mountains for more than a month, the skills of Kuai Jianju finally reached the level of minor success from the entry level. With his current sword drawing speed, the power of any sword is comparable to that of a 4th-level martial arts perfectionist. In addition, the first law diagram of the Wheel of Life and Death has finally figured out some ways, which contains the mystery of how to use the power of the 2 poles of life and death. Based on his own understanding, Luo Xiu figured out an attack method and named it the Seal of Life and Death. In the room, he sat cross-legged, and the black and white light lit up between his hands. The palms and fingers were connected, and the fingertips were entangled to form a strange and mysterious seal. The power of the 2 poles of life and death continued to condense, and the black and white light became brighter and brighter. Soon, between his hands, the power of life and death condensed to form a black and white light seal, and a violent wave began to spread. The formation of the black and white light seal almost drained all the true energy in Luo Xiu's body. Disperse, that he shouted softly, and the wheels of life and death in his dantian buzzed and trembled. The black and white light seals condensed between his hands gradually dimmed and finally disappeared. In the canyon deep in the Baki Mountains, Luo Xiu once tested the power of the Seal of Life and Death. The power was so powerful that it could sweep through any 4th-level martial arts. It's just that this martial art learned from the Wheels of Life and Death is powerful, but it consumes a lot of energy and cannot be used casually. If I can thoroughly understand the first law diagram, I should be able to further improve the Seal of Life and Death. Not only will it be more powerful, but the consumption and execution speed will also be increased. Cultivation is very boring, but Luo Xiu enjoys it, especially when he suddenly figures out a problem that he couldn't figure out. The feeling of a sudden enlightenment gives him a sense of accomplishment. Moreover, he found that the more he understood, the more he discovered that there were more things he didn't understand. The road to martial arts seemed to be endless, which fascinated him. Unknowingly, 2 days passed quickly, and the entrance examination was about to begin. Early in the morning, the geniuses of the 18 city martial palaces gathered together, led by the 18 palace masters, to the location of the assessment. The assessment site is located in a vast building in the center of the city, where the outer gate of Xiaoyao Gate is located, while the inner gate is said to be in Longyu Mountain, more than 3,000 miles away from Yunlong County. The outer sect is generally responsible for handling worldly affairs in Yunlong County, while the inner sect is much more detached, living outside the secular world and pursuing the path of becoming a strong martial artist. The assessment of the outer sect is very strict. Every year, there are dozens of geniuses who meet the requirements in the 18 cities martial hall. Plus some geniuses who are not from the martial hall. There are only 3 places among the hundreds of geniuses. This means that except for the 3 people who passed the assessment, hundreds of other people will be eliminated and can only wait for the assessment next year. If you are over 18 years old and have not passed the examination, you will never be eligible to enter the outer gate. Those who broke through to the Qi realm before the age of 18 can indeed be regarded as outstanding geniuses in major martial arts halls, but for Xiaoyao sect, they are very ordinary. Even if Luo Xiu reached the Qi realm at the age of 14, he would be considered an outstanding genius in Xiaoyao sect. Among the outer disciples, they are also very average. For many boys and girls in Yunlong County, the outer sect examination is an opportunity to leap over the Dragon Gate. Once you pass the examination and become an outer sect disciple, you will not only have access to various training resources and conditions, but the most important thing is high-level martial arts. Learn inheritance. The martial arts spread in the secular world do not exceed the 4th level, but at Xiaoyao sect, you can get the opportunity to practice the 5th level martial arts, and even the 6th level martial arts.